Part 23. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 224. Fingering the hem of his clothes, his eyes looked into the distance to the snowy scene outside the window. Snow is flying in the air, time passes meaninglessly in a daze. Tianhaijuli Yulai felt that this atmosphere seemed familiar. She remembered that every time after practicing the piano, she would sit on the bench in front of the piano like this, staring at the passage of time in a daze. I feel so confused every time. I can't see how I should move forward, I can't see the things I like. I can only rely on the feeling I have accumulated over a long period of time, and my hands can perform what my mother wants and expect according to her requirements. Julie Yulai, do you have anything you particularly like? Even now, Tianhaijuli Yulai still can't find the answer to this question he asked. She tried to look for it, but until the end of that day, she found that what she was looking forward to most was to see her brother smiling at her when she returned home, and to hear him say welcome back. He was already at home, ready to a delicious and hot meal is ready. Every time I stand in the entrance hall and look at the warmth of returning home, I always feel intoxicated by the warm feeling of the day is over. Tianhaijuli Yulai was struggling in such a chaotic thought, becoming more and more confused. There was a click and a head poked through the door. Amamai Kuruori retracted her thoughts in an instant and stood up. She folded her hands in front of her skirt and looked at Sakeki Hararaku, who had changed her clothes. Brother, isn't he taking a bath in a hot spring? I must have soaked in it. Look at the yukata I'm wearing. Sakeki Hara walked into her room, closed the door and walked around in front of her. It's a little too small and doesn't fit well. Tianhai's 9 glazed eyes were smiling, and she lightly covered her mouth. Uncle Ying took this for me. Li Yulai, why are you laughing? Tianhaijuli Yulai's smile faded, and she said, it just feels like there is one more person suddenly, and it feels good to have someone to talk with me next. Sakeki Hararaku could tell that Amamai Kurayuri was very sad because of what happened before, about the engagement. Well, Tianhaijuli Yulai nodded, thank you, brother, for saying no to me before. Are you okay? It's okay. There will definitely be sadness. I almost thought Lejun, you must be engaged to Chi Minjio. Tianhaijuli Yulai smiled lightly. This smile made Sakeki Hara take the initiative to walk in front of her. After she got closer, the girl lowered her eyebrows slightly. If I really get engaged to Chi Minjio, what will you do, Julie Yulai? I will try hard to save it, and I will also try hard to make Grandpa understand my thoughts. Although it is unlikely. Sorry. It doesn't matter. Lejun doesn't need to apologize. This happened because of Chi Minjio. The girl's cheeks were very clear, and even the shyness on her face caused by her proximity was equally clear. Just looking at her like this, his hand touched her cheek at some point, which made Julie Yulai a little at a loss, and his eyes drifted left and right. She was like this, even though she was shy, she had no intention of stopping her. Instead, he looked like a docile kitten, so cute that he only clutched at his skirt in panic. 9 glazed glass. Here you are. Are you thinking now that I would give you a hug? Yes, there is. Sakakibara brushed her face, which was stained by warmth, and reached out to pinch it. The tickling feeling made the girl blush immediately. Should we find something else to do now? Don't think about the previous things. Isn't it good to just stay like this? Then you can't just sit here and do nothing, right? Sakeki Hara smiled and withdrew his hand. The warmth and delicacy of her cheek still seemed to remain on his fingertips. But, I think this is good. With you by my side, with you accompanying me, I am already very satisfied. Amamai Kuruori's cute remarks made Sakeki Hararaku stunned for a moment, and then he touched her head as if she were a younger sister. This action is quite suitable for a Ling, but it feels a bit inconsistent for a tall person like Julie Yulai. But she is also very cute and makes people want to hold her in their arms. At this time, Sakakibara will feel very clearly that she is his girlfriend now, and she is willing to be his girlfriend. If you think about it carefully, wouldn't tall girls be cuter when they are shy? Tianhai Julie Yulai was touched on the cheek, and after her face was slightly pressed against the touch of his hand, the girl hesitated for a long time, and then she said shyly to him, "Well, do you want to kiss now?" Sakakihara hesitated, "Is this sudden? Didn't Julie Yulai say that you can't kiss often?" "It's not often, it's just occasionally." "Occasionally? Does Ruri want to be kissed?" Sakakihara knew that he was asking nonsense, but his desire to respect her opinion still forced him to ask. "I even brought it up on my own initiative. I must have thought about it." Sakakibara put his hands on her slender waist, because they were indoors and the heating was on. The woolen coat on her upper body was taken off, leaving only a snow-white dress that flattered her figure. She braided her hair and put on light makeup. In this state, Julie Yulai was tall and extremely beautiful. People couldn't help but take the initiative to hold her waist, stroke her smooth and long flaxen hair, and then aim at her and kiss her. When her face was flushed, she kissed her mouth to mouth. Well, a simple contact made Tianhai Julie Yulai's whole body seem to soften. Sakakibara had no choice but to reach out and grab her, pulling her into his arms. After a brief separation, each other's breath was full of fragrance. Li. Well, continue. This time, it was Julie Yulai who took the initiative to kiss her. Close your eyes, and it seems that you can only feel the softness and sweetness of your lips. The cerebral cortex unconsciously secretes happy pheromones, sending like signals throughout your brain. The kiss lasted so long that the two lost track of time. It was not until they returned that Sakakibara suddenly realized that the two of them were sitting on the edge of the bed. After they separated, when Sakakibara looked into Amamai Kuruuri's eyes, he found that her eyes were full of trust. They both looked at each other and smiled, full of the happiness of a couple after spending time together. Li. I have a request. What? Now, can you please stop being so gentle to me? What's wrong? Tianhai Julie Yulai's tone was much lower. Sakakibara realized that she had misunderstood, and quickly explained, "Don't get me wrong, I mean that I like you who have a little temper. In fact, Julie Yulai is not the kind of person who is only gentle to others, right?" "What does this mean?" "That's right, he usually calls me idiot or something like that." Quietly. Then, Tianhai Julie Yulai knelt down on the bed and moved her position, hugged him from behind, put her head on his shoulders, and leaned close to his ears. After blushing and hesitating for a moment, she opened her lips and teeth slightly and spoke softly. One shout. "Fool. Is that so?" Sakakihara smiled, "It would be nice if you were more resentful towards me." Tianhai Julie Yulai came closer to him again, blushing and shouting again, "Idiot." The sound was so sweet that people couldn't help but want to hold her little hand. "Why do you keep shouting and getting sweeter? Don't you like that I can only shout like this? I'm obviously so shy even when I shout." "Of course not." Ahem, who would have thought that the angel who is usually known as the most beautiful girl in school would say such coy words. "Idiot, don't say such a shameful title." "That's it, that's what's right," Sakakibara said quickly, "Kuruyuri should have her own temper. Girls with tempers will be cuter." "Idiot," Tianhai Julie Yulai tried his best to imitate the tone just now, looked at him doubtfully and asked, "Is that so?" "Right, that is it." "What's wrong? I didn't expect Lejun to have such a hobby. He likes to be called idiot by girls." "How can I not? It's just whether you shout sweetly or not. But whether you like it or not, I really do." "Li Yulai, Do you still have any grievances against me? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you say it all. Can you really say that? Tianhaijuli Yulai originally wanted to ask this question, but when she remembered that he had to say something a bit temperamental, she took it back. Then I said it? Tell me, Sakaki Hara nodded. Tianhaijuli Yulai complained, why do you have to take so much care of Chi Minjiu? This is Wang Jia from the very beginning. Well, Sakakibara said with shame, don't you know, Ruri, that as a step-brother, I can't trust her. Did you take Chi Minjiu to the infirmary before? Tianhaijuli Yulai was not very happy. This has happened before. You carried her on your back. Tianhaijuli Yulai explained, someone saw it on the road and said, Lejun, you were carrying a girl who covered her head with a coat to the infirmary. Why have you gone quiet? Sakakibara's eyes drifted to the ceiling. This, because it is the truth. It turns out that this is how it feels to be questioned by your girlfriend. It seemed like she would get angry at any time because her answer didn't go her way. I don't like your contact with other girls. That's right. I don't like you talking and laughing with other boys either. I just laugh when discussing with other boys. It's just polite. Can they be the same as you? You are different. I am only good to you, and I only smile sincerely to you. Me too. Tianhaijuli Yulai's tone became even more resentful. Lejun, you are different. When you take care of girls, you really take good care of them. Chi Minjiu told me before that she almost forgot about you, but he was so kind to her and made her remember everything. Sorry, I shouldn't have done this. Sakaki Hararaku quickly apologized to his resentful girlfriend. Are other girls' hands soft to the touch? Tianhaijuli Yulai continued to question. No. Does it feel softer than my hand? Absolutely not. What are the good things about other girls? If you want to hold hands, I will hold hands with you. If you want to kiss, I will let you kiss me. If you want to play games or run, I can accompany you. Even if you like to see me wearing, I'll try on that kind of clothes too. Isn't it enough to have me? Tianhaijuli Yulai wrote these small complaints mixed with the sweetness of honey. She sounds like a girlfriend who doesn't care much. So cute, so sincerely cute. Also, why can't you stay with me more? I look forward to meeting you every day, but you still have to hang out in Chi Minjiu's literature club before coming back. You don't call me when you go running in the morning, and I always play games. When I call you, even when I kiss you, I always take the initiative. Am I not your girlfriend? You should look at me more. It can't be done, it can't be done. After a series of attacks by Amamikuruori, Sakaki Hararaku felt like he could hardly breathe. Speak quickly. These are your true words, Li Yulai, right? Of course it is. There's a lot of why don't you believe me in the tone. Julie Yulai's complaint made Sakakibara want to coax her, so he shamelessly took the initiative to hold her hand, hugged her waist from behind, and followed her example just now, leaning his head on her shoulder and leaning on her shoulder. Said in her ear. Sorry, Ruri-chan. The tickling feeling made Tianhaijuli Yulai blush again, and her tone softened a lot. I don't want to blame you, I just want to talk about what I am unhappy about. Although I can understand it, I still don't happy. I understand, and I'm very happy that Li Yulai can tell me so many things frankly. Then can you change it? Stay with you more? Of course there's no problem with that. Then how long can you stay with me a day? Well, Sakaki Hararaku deliberately tried to put it off, but Amami Jurulai kept puffing out her cheeks and holding her hand tightly without letting go at all. So cute. Lejun, please tell me. I can stay with you as long as you want. How about it? What does mean? Yeah, I mean I like it. Do you like me staying with you all the time? Tianhaijuli Yulai became even more shy, and her heart kept beating under his words. Yes, I like you to stay with me all the time. Sakakihara deliberately moved closer and said next to her earlobe. I like you. It was probably too close to her ears. As soon as the hot air blew over in this cold weather, the girl was so embarrassed that she couldn't help but shrink her neck, and a blush suddenly spread through the roots of her ears. Please don't say such things in my ears. What's wrong? It's so itchy. Is it the kind of itch that makes you feel soft all over your body instantly? These teasing words made Tianhaijuli Yulai blush for a long time. It seemed like the truth, but it didn't seem like it. Tianhaijuli Yulai only knew that his heart felt itchy after hearing it, and his heartbeat also accelerated. It took him a long time to realize that he was just making fun of myself. After sensing that he was still laughing, the girl turned back to glare at him with a red face. She obviously wanted to be angry, but seeing his handsome face and the fact that he was the person she particularly liked, she couldn't get angry at all. Coupled with Sakakibara Raku's "I'm sorry" hug on the back, Amamai Kuruori couldn't even make a fuss if he wanted to. Lejun is really bad sometimes. I apologize, but doesn't Liulai think she's cute like this? Anyway, I think she's very cute. Lejun still said that. Haha, sorry. Lejun's apology doesn't seem sincere at all, Tianhaijuli Yulai said shyly, but unconsciously tightened his hand around her waist. Lock your fingers together and put them together on your legs. How could this happen? I apologize sincerely. I laughed because I thought you were too cute, Ruri-chan. Tianhaijuli Yulai's fingers on the other side kept squeezing his hand, struggling meaninglessly. Even if this is the case, Lejun can't make such a joke. I see. Julie Yulai seems to be particularly shy about this kind of contact between men and women. Thinking about it this way, every time she wanted to kiss, she took the initiative to say so. It was only after struggling countless times that I mustered up the courage to express it to myself. But what to do? The more she behaves like this, the more Sakakihara wants to see more of her cuteness. Seeing her face flushed and shy in his arms. She is obviously such an energetic girl. The fingers are intertwined, and the hand is full of her petiteness and cuteness. Kuruori Sakakihara was happy in the ambiguous and warm atmosphere. He hugged her from behind again and leaned closer to her ear. Let's kiss. Don't be upset about what happened this morning. Tianhaijuli Yulai nodded silently, and after she agreed and closed her eyes, there was another brief kiss. The breath was long and warm, and the brain felt like it was getting an electric shock. Sakakibara opened his eyes and felt incredible when he saw the girl's face, blushing and shy but full of happiness. She was looking forward to her actions. She enjoyed the contact with her very much. Rare call. What? Sakakihara separated her cherry-pink lips, and there was still a sweet fragrance in his mouth. He squeezed the girl's slender arm, and could only see her lowered face, the softness of her mouth, and her shy words that were completely inaudible. No, it's nothing. That does not. Amamai Jurulai took the initiative to come over again and block Sakakibara Raku's unasked questions. He leaned against the wall next to the bed and closed his eyes. It wasn't until the girl held her heart with her right hand and clasped her hand tightly with the 5 fingers of her left hand, expressing her attachment that she didn't want him to leave her, that Sakakihara Raku suddenly understood. It turns out that she had been talking and showing it with actions just now. Really like you. This sentence has a simple meaning. Sakakibara couldn't help but respond to her dependence more enthusiastically. I feel like Lejun is becoming more and more skilled at kissing. Isn't this the same for you, Liulai? Are you shy? It's all your fault for being a bad guy. Why did you hit my chest? Liulai didn't say that just now. You were the one asking for the kiss. Bad guy. Bad guy, bad guy, bad guy dash. Sakaki Hararaku only thought that she was acting coquettishly towards him, and to deal with such juriuri, he only needed to block her mouth with his mouth. Sure enough, under such an offensive, all the defenses of Tianhai Juliuli were broken and softened. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 225. Gorgeous Lounge. Real maid with a plate in hand. If you want something to eat, just wave to them, and they will respectfully call out little miss and ask if you need anything. Sakaki Harasuzu is very uncomfortable with her new identity. Because she had only seen this kind of scene on TV since she was a child. Maid, big house, rich people, things like that. Sakaki Harasuzu only remembered that the house she lived in was a low-rent house of a few square meters, the TV was a color TV found in the second-hand market, and the desk was an unwanted desk from the school. When summer comes, the whole family lives in that small house. The fan rotates loudly at night, and a quick slap can cause a pool of blood from a mosquito on your hand. The fan kept short-circuiting, and I had to use a screwdriver to take it apart and fix it. And now, the lounge is so big that I don't know how many floors it can accommodate, and I don't know how much money it will cost to decorate the transparent floor-to-ceiling windows. Flowers are dotted all around, silk sections are hung from the beams, and the walls carved with gold wire are framed with whitewood framed landscape paintings of various colors. He glanced twice at the beautifully carved carpet beneath his feet. Sakaki Harasuzu felt uncomfortable sitting there. Are all these things prohibitively expensive? She cursed in her heart. These snacks are so exquisite and have some unique-looking names. What about sakura and birds, Jungyanko, Kaohsiung, Amayaman? They looked good, but she felt they all tasted the same. Not as delicious as the fried ice cream made by my brother. Brother? Speaking of which, I think I am now liked by Julie Yulai and Chi Minjiao. Have they kissed their brother? No. He is so timid and has never talked to other girls before. As Suzu Sakaki Hara thought about it, her legs shook unconsciously under the table. She knew she was restless. My brother thinks about running and spending time with Julie Yulai every day. Chi Minjiao thinks about how to be liked by that guy every day. Two foxes circle around him every day. She felt that even her identity as a sister was disappearing. What about yourself? What should I do? So confused. So painful. Very unhappy. Sakaki Harasuzu subconsciously wanted to catch her rabbit. She reached out and touched it for a long time before suddenly realizing that she was not at home. And she also touched a girl's thigh. Tianhai's Higsu looked at her silently. Sakaki Harasuzu quickly stopped her hands, clasped her hands together, and apologized sincerely. Sorry. Ling likes girls. Tianhai's Higsu's voice was slow, as if she didn't care about being touched. Of course it's not. You are my first time. What? The first time someone did so many things to me. What a strange statement. Do we want to be friends? Sakaki Harasuzu didn't react for a while. We have only known each other for a while, but if you want to be friends, I can be your friend. Thanks. Amamai no Yuki continued to eat wagashi in small bites, and Sakaki Harasuzu could see that she liked it very much. Then I will call you Yuyuki from now on. Suddenly she had a new friend, which made Suzu Sakaki Hara curious about this little ant with a delicate face. Yuki, did you grow up at home? Have you never gone to school? Don't you feel bored staying at home all the time? Fine. Yuki. I am here. Sakaki Harasuzu is very powerless. Talking to Amamai Nazuki is like filling up the sea with palm-sized pebbles. No matter how many pieces of water are filled, the level will not rise by half a centimeter. She is too bland. Talking to Chi Minjio can also tease her. Sakakihara Suzu wanted to talk to her but couldn't find anything to talk about, so she could only sit beside her. Aling, your birthday tea party is being prepared downstairs. Do you want to go and have a look? The sudden appearance of Sakakihara Raku broke the delicate balance at this moment. Sakakihara Suzu happily waved to Sakakibara Raku, who was standing at the door, and vigorously called him into the room. Wait a minute, brother, why are you wearing a yukata? I was soaking in a hot spring just now. Sakakibara raised his hands. Didn't you know? Spot. Sakakihara Suzu came to his chest and smelled it. What do you smell? Did you hug me while you were in the hot spring? Tell me. The hugging was only possible when I had 4 holes stabbed in my stomach. Then why did you go to the hot springs for several hours? Today is my birthday, so you shouldn't have gone to accompany Julie Yulai and Chi Minjio, right? Alingbin's purple eyes came over questioningly, which made Sakakibara feel a little embarrassed. This is it. It seems that's it. Surprisingly, Suzu Sakakibara didn't sound arrogant at all when she said this. She just withdrew her gaze and straightened her posture, looking like a good child. Sakakibara was surprised. Suzu, shouldn't you be angry? Why should I be angry? Anyway, you gave me a birthday gift and took good care of me. Why should I be angry? Sakakibara Suzu's face dropped, and her tone also dropped. Aling was not very happy. And it's the kind of unhappiness that gives up on yourself. Raku Sakakihara sat down in the seat next to her. What are you doing? Sakakihara Suzu raised her eyes again. Accompany you. Sakakihara Suzu pouted, it's up to you. Then, and then no more. It was quiet the entire time. Sakakibara Raku found that not only Suzu was quiet, but also Amami Yuki, who was sitting opposite. She was eating snacks, a little dazed. Don't you like me that much anymore? Sakakibara Suzu asked, planning Sakakibara's gaze. No. You talk to me less, you ignore me when I ask you to play games, and you haven't come to pick me up at the office recently. Ailing, aren't you very busy? And it's been rainy lately, so I need to pick you up. I'm busy, so I also want to chat occasionally. I feel like your mind is filled with 9 glazed tiles, 7 bright moons and 7 bright moons. Suzu, Sakakibara explained, it's not that I'm ignoring you, but I've been having a headache recently because of Julie Yulai and Chi Minjio, so I don't have the energy to care about you. Think about it, Chi Minjio, you can come to my room in the middle of the night, do that kind of thing. You think I still maintain a relationship with Julie Yulai? How can I not be very anxious? Foxes are bad. Yes, foxes are the worst. They make me feel uncomfortable every day. Sakakihara Suzu's mood changed. Is what you just said true? Of course. Hey. Look, when I ran away from home, who still wanted to see me every day? Who sat there for more than an hour after get off work to see me? Sakakibara wanted it very much. Ling understood herself and spoke from the bottom of her heart. Sakakihara Suzu took this into her heart and kicked her feet under the table because she felt happy that she was being cared about. I was very happy, but I didn't want to say it out loud. It feels like you are becoming more and more good at making people happy. You don't often coax Julie Yulai not to be jealous like this, right? In fact, it was because she often coaxed Chi Minjio that she was jealous. Sakakihara Raku didn't dare to say this. Ahem, didn't I coax you from childhood to adulthood? If you want to coax others in turn, I must take care of you first. Julie Yulai benefited because of you, but she wants to thank you. I love hearing this. Are you happy? I'm happy, Suzu Sakakihara accepted this explanation. She felt happy and quickly stood up from the chair. I'm going to use the toilet. Just wait for me. Let's go downstairs and take a look together later. Okay, go ahead, stop making faces, you're cute enough. Sakakihara waved to her and watched her being taken out to find the toilet by the maid. There were only 2 people left on the round table. Sakakihara Raku was a little embarrassed. Snow in the sky and sea. Only then did Sakakihara Raku have the opportunity to take a closer look at this little ant who was younger than him. She has long straight black hair, a small face, flawless and clear eyebrows, and delicately marked facial features that give her the beauty of a young girl. After watching it for a long time, Sakakibara couldn't help but sigh at the strong genes of the Amami family. The man is handsome and the woman is beautiful. Really beautiful. The more he looked, the more Sakakibara Raku was able to capture a bit of Juliuli and Chi Minjyu on Amami no Yuki's face. For example, this small and exquisite face, the straight nose bridge that is carefully carved like a work of art, and the cherry-colored soft lips full of pink. The movement of eating is similar to that of Chi Minjyu. They are all chewed slowly. Wait, why is my mind filled with Chi Minjyu? There's nothing to eat. Tianhai's Higsu was empty-handed and in a daze. There's nothing to eat? Only then did Raku Sakakibara see that the wagashi glutinous rice cakes on the plate in front of her were gone. No, even the cakes on Suzu's plate were gone. How could she eat so fast? Sakakibara looked around and saw neither Sakura nor the maid. Everyone seems to be gone, so be it, Zhigzu, just wait, they will be back later. No, she said. Why not? Got to get it from the kitchen. You can't eat too much in a day. After a while, Sakakihara understood what her little aunt meant. It turned out that she could only eat so many snacks a day. It was probably the amount her grandfather had limited. Then don't eat, okay? Are we friends? No. Then can we be friends? Should be okay. I'm hungry. What are you saying to me? We are friends now. Tianhai's Higsu's voice did not fluctuate, just like her expression. Sakakibara said helplessly, I haven't agreed yet. What I said may not necessarily mean something. Ant, this is a real ant. He suddenly wanted to raise his hands and surrender. What a pity. Tianhai's Higsu looked really hungry and stood up to leave the lounge. She rubbed her belly and disappeared listlessly. Sakakibara Raku didn't intend to pursue him because he didn't know Amami no Yuki very well. But he suddenly thought of what Uncle Ying said before. Mrs. Higsu is easily distracted and always forgets things. If there is anything wrong or offensive, please don't blame Mrs. Higsu, that is not her intention. Can she not even remember the way to her own home? The more Sakakibara thought about it, the more something was wrong. He recalled the somewhat dull natural look of Amami no Yuki. I was really worried that the girl suddenly got lost or couldn't find her way. After all, the house is so big and there are only so many servants. Sakakihara explained the situation to Suzu on his mobile phone, and then chased him out. After exiting the lounge, there was a corridor leading to who knows where. It was on the left and right, and Sakakihara Raku chose the left. The Hai family is really big today, extending in all directions. Sakakihara wandered around and found that he was back. 5 minutes later, Suzu replied oh, and Sakakibara accidentally stumbled into the kitchen. Just in time, he saw Tianhai's Higsu take off her shoes and put her bare white feet on a low stool. She was reaching out hard to get the top plate of bread. Very cute. Well, this little ant is really stupid, even more stupid than the stalker Juliuli. Sakakibara walked over and helped her take down the bread on top. Thank you. Tianhai's Higsu cherished the bread and tore a piece to him. Do you want it? I do not need. Sakakihara Raku found that her fingers were thin, white, and long, and they had many similarities with Juliuli's. She was also a piano practitioner? Then I'll eat it myself. Is the girl being polite to herself? Sakakibara became even more curious about her. My name is Sakakibara Raku. We have met in the dining room before. Do you still remember? Snow in the Sky and Sea. This name written in Chinese characters has a very artistic conception, like snow in the sky and sea. Reading Japanese just makes people feel cute. Yuki Yuki, snow. I know your name is this. According to seniority, you are still my aunt. Are you the same as Zyaju and Zyoki? I'm their brother. The girl looked confused. We'll explain this later. Anyway, can I just call you by your name from now on? Then, Sakakibara looked at her holding the cake and starting to eat. Zyoki, have you been attending private school at home? There are many teachers. Do you have any friends? Friends. Uncle Ying said he is my friend. It turns out that I have no friends. I have been growing up in such a big house since I was a child. The people he comes into contact with are all grandfathers, fathers who can be his grandfathers. Speaking of which, Zhixu's mother still died in childbirth. Where are your sisters? My sister is very busy, and my brother is also very busy. That's right, Uncle Tianhai usually doesn't even go back to his own home, so how can he go back to Hui Tianhai's house? Why are you sitting here? There was another emotionless voice, and Sakakihara turned his head, and then he realized that Tenkai Nanamayu suddenly stood at the door. Raku Sakakibara pointed decisively at Amami Nazuki, who was stuttering bread next to him, to prevent his wife from misunderstanding. Get her something to eat? When can you talk to your aunt? Sakakihara Raku quickly declared that he was innocent and was definitely not motivated by sex. I went to see Suzu just now and we happened to have a few words. Tianhai Kaimingyu didn't say anything to this. Let's go and check out the birthday party. There will be a tea party in the afternoon. You don't know how many people you have to greet today. Okay, Raku Sakakibara agreed, and then asked Tenami Yuki, who had finished eating the bread and put the lid on the lid, do Yuki want to go to the birthday party together? Whose birthday is it? My sister, Sakakihara Suzu. Suzuki-chan is also a friend. What a strange girl. Then let's go. While walking towards the tea party with Nanami, Raku Sakakibara asked her. How could your aunt do this? Foolishly. It's not stupid, it's just weird. Don't worry, that's her personality. She's not in a hurry. It's just because she's been used to being alone since she was a child, so she always likes to be in a daze. Sakakibara suddenly sighed, I know it's inappropriate for me to say this, but I think your aunt can't stay at home all the time. Tianhai Kaimingyu glanced sideways at him, her face full of exquisite beauty and bone-piercing coldness. Is your good heart starting to overflow again? Little vinegar jar. Sakakihara shook his head happily in his heart and smiled secretly. I'm just making a normal suggestion. Do you want to talk to Grandpa? It's not a matter of whether I say it or not. Tianhai Kaimingyu withdrew her gaze and spoke calmly, it's not that Grandpa doesn't want to send her to school, but my aunt has an unconventional personality. To others, her way of speaking is very strange and very strange. Easily disliked. People from the Tianhai family will not be disliked. Not being able to approach her is also a form of disgust. My aunt's main problem is that she doesn't know how to communicate with others. Understood. Tianhai Kaimingyu lifted her hair next to her ear, she doesn't like contact with the outside world either. Grandpa asked her if she wanted to study at home. She nodded, and Grandpa also nodded. Grandpa, this is too hasty. Tianhai Kaimingyu looked forward, of course there is a reason for this. Tianhai Kaimingyu didn't explain in detail, obviously she didn't want to explain. My father and my grandfather were quarreling in those years. After knowing that my aunt did not go to school, my father wanted to pick up my aunt and go to school with us. This was easily negotiated because my grandfather also wanted to send my aunt out to live for a while, but my aunt ended up he still shook his head and refused to agree, so Grandpa did not agree to this matter. Tian Hai Kaimingyu shook her head. Having said so much, let me sum it up for you, Grandpa's overly doting aunt, who listens to her in everything. Is this so? But this is actually a good thing for aunt. Why? It gives her plenty of time to do what she wants to do. Tian Hai Kaimingyu glanced at her again. Also, were you glancing at her feet just now? No, Sakakihara replied righteously, because he didn't look carefully. Didn't you see enough in the bathroom before? Auntie, you were in the hot spring the whole time. All I saw were water ripples, and you didn't let me touch it? When do you want me to touch it? Tian Hai Kaimingyu looked disgusted. You have a beautiful idea. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 226. The back garden of Tian Hai's house. Amamai made Nori walk down the steps of the mansion, walked along the corridor through a path surrounded by bushes, and arrived at the back garden under the grey snowy sky. Stepping onto the corridor and walking along the eaves, a landscape courtyard comes into view. There are many rocks piled up here, and powerful dwarf pines grow all around. Because it has been snowing continuously for the past half-month, the moss and grass ferns between the rocks are inevitably covered in white. Tian Hai Madayan stared at the sky, watching the snow falling in the air disappear into the pond, and watching the individual snowflakes dissipate on the water. This scene couldn't help but bring back memories in his heart, and all kinds of thoughts came to him. You seem to come here to stay for a while when you are in a bad mood, Amamai Miwa said, standing behind him. A habit developed since childhood. Is it because Julie Yulai and Chi Minjiu both like a Le? Yes, but compared to this, I still care more about the reason why they fell in love with Ale. Ale is very good at taking care of people. Well, I still remember Julie Yulai told me that Ale was so busy that he fainted while helping the two sisters make dinner. After hearing the news, I thought that it was only a matter of time before Julie Yulai fell in love with Ale. Thing. Amamai Miwa could see through his back the complexity of his heart. What Amamai Maid Nori cares about is not whether they fall in love with the same person, but that he feels guilty about his difficulty in providing care for his two sisters as a father since childhood. He has failed in his duty as a father. It wasn't until later that I understood everything. It was too late. That's why I said that I am not qualified to make choices for them. As a father, what I can do now is to let them be as undisturbed as possible and let them live a free life. Tian Hai Madayan looked down at the water, looking at the reflection talks to itself. Tian Hai Mai he smiled from behind and said, children Chi Minjiu and Julie Yulai must also understand this. Why do you say that? Madayan, haven't you noticed that they will call you father or father, but Kia rarely calls Bertha mother? It sounds quite comforting. They are concerned about Mao Diankai's performance, Amamai Miwa said with a smile. Amamai Maid Nori looked at the reflection in the water and smiled, then looked up at the sky. He took a long breath and stared at the rising heat mist. Amamai Shigenori's mood seemed to relax a lot. At least, this proves that the old man and I still have some differences. Madayan, who do you think Ale's kid will choose? Tian Hai Madayan pondered for a moment. I think Ale will choose the child in July. Why? Tian Hai Mai he was very surprised. Amamai Maid Nori replied, at first, I thought it was Ruri's child who was most likely, but when I remembered what I did when I was 6 in July, I didn't think so. Miwa, did you know that July recently started studying? Regarding financial knowledge, she would often ask me for advice via email. She learned quickly, and the pocket money the old man gave her was enlarged several times by her. Amamai Miwa just found out about this. Isn't this a bit exaggerated? Tian Hai Madayan shook his head. She has access to much more information than ordinary people, and there are many more channels and methods. It is not surprising with the reputation of the Tianhai family. Who do you think she is doing this to prepare for? Ale. It's Alok. Ale is the kind of person who can't bear to be owed the most by others. Tianhai Mai, he murmured to himself. That's it. Tianhai Madian sighed in his heart, but no matter how much we discuss the choice, it is all about those children. In the end, it still depends on how they choose. It can only be the buzz. The phone vibrated. Amamai made Nori took out the black mobile phone in his trouser pocket. He frowned when he saw the caller's signature. What's wrong, Tianhai Mai, he asked. It's the old man. Amamai Madian responded and then answered the phone. Hello. After answering the call, Amamai Shidanori's expression first changed from calmness to frown, and then from frown to displeasure. During this period, he said something about more than 10 years. Then, Amamai made Nori seem to accept it and fell into silence. Well, that's it, okay, I understand. He hung up the phone, put the phone back in his trouser pocket, and his expression returned to calm. Tianhai Mai, he took a step forward and asked her husband, did something happen? Tianhai Madian shook his head, and then said, the old man asked me if there are any free rooms in my new home. If not, just rent another one next door to our house. What's the meaning? Zhigzu is going to school. Evening. The guests invited to the birthday tea party have begun to enter the Tianhai family's mansion. Compared to a birthday party, Sakeki Hararaku felt it was more like a friendship party for the upper class to socialize. This is the governor of Tokyo, Satonaga Arakawa. Hello. This is the mayor, Yuriko Koba. Hello. This is Chairman Ma of the Guangdong Chinese Chamber of Commerce. Hello. This is the Metropolitan Police Department. Ah, just call me Uncle. Hello, Uncle. Amamai Nanamai took me to meet strangers one after another. Although they only met briefly, Sakaki Bararaku also tried his best to remember everyone's faces. For example, the mayor of Tokyo I just met is a middle-aged woman in her 50s. The governor of Tokyo is a young man in his 20s wearing a crisp suit and rimless glasses. Compared to the mayor, Sakakibara believes that the energy behind the governor is immeasurable. Sakeki Hararaku greets everyone one by one. Of course, in addition to these elders, there are also many young gentlemen who come to say hello. Most of them are the children of the chairman or senior management of some company. Sakakibara originally thought that chatting with them would be tiring, talking about a lot of commercial terms, but he didn't expect that they were just talking about which manufacturer's fishing rods are of good quality, and whether they can customize them when new models are released. They also asked Raku Sakakibara if he wanted to go fishing together when he had time. If not, they could take him in and teach him personally. I heard that they will also hire a chef to help process the ingredients on the yacht. As soon as you catch the fish, you can eat freshly sliced fish immediately. Cumin grilled fish is also a no-brainer. Sakeki Hara had a great time chatting with them. While going to the bathroom on the way, Sakakibara also noticed that there were several men surrounding Kuruori and Chi Minjio. Judging from the suits worth more than 100,000 yen, they must be young men from rich families. Tianhai Yuli could even say a few polite words to the other person, but Chi Minjio was extremely cold. After coming and going, he had nothing to look for her. Aling was miserable. As the protagonist, she was dragged by Uncle Tianhai and her mother to keep meeting various people who came to attend her birthday tea party. Sakeki Hararaku felt that her angelic persona outside was almost unbearable. However, Sakaki Bararaku himself was not much better. Some wealthy ladies who dressed up nicely also came to greet him. Every time he said a few words to them, he felt like there was a pair of eyes staring at him from behind. Brother is quite popular. Tianhai Chi Minjio held the freshly fried potato chips in the snack area in her hand and saw someone sitting on the empty seat on the sofa next to her with a plate of fruit. Stop sarcastic, it's just a polite word. Raku Sakakihara put a plate of fruit on his lap. By the way, why didn't you see Zyuki? Just now she asked me where there was fried ice cream. I guess it was, Ling told her. Auntie doesn't like crowded places. She only stays in the room during banquets. You had a nice chat with her. Well enough. Do you think she is good looking? Very cute. A beautiful girl with long black hair and straight hair. No, absolutely not, Sakakihara denied immediately. It doesn't matter how you talk to her, but if you dash tea and hikiming you didn't say anything. Sakakibara sighed deeply. Nana Mingzuki, you know, I am not the kind of person who forgets about sex. If I were that kind of person, would I still need to reject you a dozen times? Don't worry, even if you are familiar with Zhigzu, they are just friends. Tian Haikaimingu withdrew her gaze and did not dwell on this topic. After getting to know each other all the way, how do you feel today? Sakakibara ate a grape and said, it's okay. Are you a little uncomfortable? This is completely different from your 7 or 8 years of life. It's not that I'm not used to it. I always feel that when it involves an adult topic, it's as heavy as an iron chain on my neck. It's like the test, Grandpa said. Raku Sakakihara looked towards the magnificent tea party center. Suzu Sakakihara was meeting people she didn't know. I can also feel that Ling is also a little tired of dealing with it. This is the world of the Tianhai family. Tianhai Kaimingyu bit down on a potato chip. Either you know people, or new people come to know you. They have a clear purpose, they want to invest, they want to cooperate, they want to assist. It feels good to be complimented, but such compliments obviously lack sincerity, which makes people care about the gains and losses, and guess what the other person is trying to achieve by beating around the bush. No wonder my uncle said he doesn't like the Amamai family very much. Sakakibara looked at her 5 white and slender fingers. Grandpa is now the head of the family, that's for sure. But for him now, he has lost a lot of things. The less he has, the more he wants. It is for this reason that Grandpa is particularly doting on his aunt. Do you dote on your family? Sakakihara Raku felt particularly emotional when he heard this. When he had no money more than 10 years ago, all he thought about every day was money, money, money. After having money, there is nothing I want to buy. Sakakibara stared at the beautiful appearance of Nanamai sitting next to him, listened to her words in his ear, and felt her real presence beside him, and suddenly he understood what he really wanted. All I want is to live a happy and simple life with the person who loves me and the person I love. It is precisely because of this that Sakakihara Raku became more determined about his next actions. You have to borrow a cooperation or a common goal or something. Let the two sisters regain their relationship. Sakakihara Raku decided to attack Nanamijiwa first. Chi Minjiwa, do you have any ideas about the band? Tian Haikaiminyu glanced at him with a dull look. Look, I learned the piano before, but now I have no use for it. It's such a waste. Tian Haikaiminyu said directly, a symphony orchestra, 5 instrumental groups, more than 100 people, do you have so many friends? Even a small symphony orchestra has more than 20 people, you still want me join the music club? Just form an ordinary band. Do you play guitar or bass? Neither. You answered quite confidently, Tian Haikaiminyu teased calmly. You can't learn it? I reject. Why? Because your intentions are not pure, this alone is enough for me to reject you 1,000 times. Don't even ask why. Xiaoqiu, this is definitely revenge, absolutely. Sakakihara moved his butt towards her, and he could already vaguely smell the sweet fragrance of green apple on her body. What are you doing so close? Aren't you afraid of being discovered by your sister? I would also like to talk to Julie Yulai, but she is dealing with someone now. Well, Kiu. Don't call me that. Tianhai Chi Minjiao stopped eating potato chips for a second. Okay, Chi Minjiao. I won't mention the band anymore. Do you know anything about Grandpa's test? Nanamai observed the details of Raku Sakakibara's expression. A hint of color flashed in his eyes. Did you guess it? No, that's why I came to ask you. You have to understand that in Grandpa's eyes, I am your girlfriend now. Then what? I'm just reminding you that as for the test and the mess, Grandpa said, it's just Grandpa trying to scare you. What are you trying to scare me for? If Grandpa randomly throws a task to you, and you are frightened as if you are facing an enemy, do you think Grandpa will find this step-grandson pleasing to his eye? You are just a high school student. I really hope that he will give you hundreds of millions of assets. Business management. I understand. What Grandpa said about the test was to see his performance. It's okay then. Sakakibara smiled easily, then picked up a grape and threw it into his mouth to eat. However, Nanamai suddenly spoke again, which made Sakakihara Raku have to look at her again. Your self-statement to refuse the engagement, you said that you are completely confident. Next, you are so arrogant. On the contrary, it made it difficult for Grandpa to get off the tiger. Amamai Nanamajetsu's words are a bit ironic, because Sakakibara only said these words for Kuruori. Whatever it is, I'll do it next. Is it okay for you to supervise a failed investment company, analyze the reasons for its losses, and save the jobs of thousands of people? It has to be okay even if it doesn't work. Grandpa won't allow you to borrow the power of the Tianhai family during this period. It has to be okay even if it doesn't work. I really don't know where your confidence comes from. Sakakibara smiled at Nanamai and said, didn't Grandpa also say that if you want something, you have to pay a price, right? For you, I am willing to try, even if it is almost impossible to complete. After Tianhai Kaimingyu heard this, he pondered for a moment, closed his eyes and said, nasty, arrogant. Hearing this, Sakakihara stood up directly without saying anything. Amamai Kaimingyu opened her eyes again after hearing the noise, and watched him put down the fruit plate in his hand, and walked up to Soichiro Amamai who had just entered the hall. After saying hello, he began to communicate with his grandfather. His active inquiry, and the grandfather's slightly surprised expression that quickly recovered, were seen by Tianhai Kaimingyu. Idiot, truly an idiot. Sakakibara sat back. Tianhai Kaimingyu couldn't bear it anymore. Do you want to hear me call you a fool? It's okay if you don't take the initiative to ask. If you take the initiative to ask, do you still think the trouble on you is not big enough? I didn't see Grandpa talking to those people. If someone is talking, come up to me now. Sakakibara smiled lightly. Nana Mingzuki cares about me again. Who cares about you? It's just a word from you. I'm afraid that you won't even be able to find your body when the time comes. I might have to wipe your ass, because this guy always can't pay attention to some details. Yes, Kyo, don't be anxious. I rarely see you anxious. Tianhai Kaimingyu looked at him for a long time, opened her lips and teeth slightly, and softly shouted two words, idiot. Perhaps what I bring is good news. Sakakibara continued, Grandpa told me that he won't embarrass me. There's no point in giving me those things now. It's better to go back to Tianhai's house occasionally and deal with things with him to understand things and learn faster. And this it's all after I graduate from college. Tianhai Kaimingyu glanced at him, as if to confirm whether his words were credible. But, Grandpa does have some requirements for me. He said that I need to study medicine at the University of Tokyo and study finance. If I can't do what you and I can do, I won't be able to do it. He won't agree. Why did Grandpa answer you like this? Well, my guess is that Uncle reached some conditions with Grandpa afterwards, and the two of them made some agreement. So he won't embarrass me. Okay, Don't be angry for me. Tian Hai Kaimingyu sighed, I'm not angry. Tian Hai Julie Yulai suddenly walked over. This made Tian Hai Kaimingyu immediately frown. Amamai Kuruuri sat down, Sakaki Raku was sandwiched between the two, and they started talking to someone across the other side. What are you doing here, sister? Shouldn't you be dealing with those boys who want to pursue you? Compared with these, I'm more curious about Chi Minjio. What were you and your brother talking about just now? About the engagement. Ahem. Nanamijio's words did not choke Julie Yulai, but instead choked Sakaki Raku. Auntie, your venomous tongue is really unforgiving at all. Tian Hai Julie Yulai looked very majestic and didn't care about her sister's provocation. If Grandpa knew the truth, I wonder what he would think of Chi Minjio. I don't care what Grandpa thinks at all. If sister wants Grandpa to know, she can tell her herself. It was clear that the engagement could be confirmed this morning, but the fact is that it was not. Doesn't Chi Minjio understand what her brother meant when she stood up and spoke? Sakaki understood what Jurulai said. Julie Yulai was reminding Chi Minjio that someone didn't have her in his heart at all, and asked her not to do useless work. Tian Hai Chi Minjio folded her hands and straightened her back. Sister must have lost the situation today, so she wants to save face now, right? If you lose, you lose. Tian Hai Julie Yulai was extremely calm. It was just a matter of misleading Grandpa to get this situation. It means, sister, it's still 10,000 years too early for you to win against me. I really don't know where my sister got her confidence. She still looked like an unwilling loser at today's breakfast meeting. I rejected my grandfather's engagement arrangements and came to see me immediately after my break. Then brother is really good at choosing time. After bathing in the hot spring, he went to find his sister immediately. Didn't he stay in the room and rest? Tian Hai Chi Minjio secretly pinched someone from behind while her sister was not paying attention. Loin. After coaxing you Chi Minjio, I will definitely go to coax Julie Yulai. I said I was going to coax Julie Yulai, but you must be unhappy, so why don't I rest in the room for a while before looking for you? Sakaki thought this man was really difficult to do. Just when he was about to persuade the two of them not to quarrel, Sakaki Suzu sat over again. Ailing, you don't have to deal with it anymore. I've dealt with it. There are too many people, and I don't know any of them. Sakaki Suzu happily ate the fruit in Sakaki hand. Sakaki looked at her happy look and said with a smile, it seems like you are quite happy on your birthday today. Of course I have a happy birthday party. Everyone said happy birthday to me. How about you say one too? Didn't I say that when I gave the gift? Suzu Sakaki took his arm, shook it, and said to him like a baby, I want to listen, please tell me again. Out of the corner of his eye, Sakaki noticed that both sisters were looking to the other side. He seemed to turn a blind eye to Aling's behavior of holding his arm and acting coquettishly. Okay, Sakaki said helplessly to her smiling face, happy birthday, Suzu, congratulations on turning 16 today. That's more or less the same, Sakaki Suzu said again, actually, I feel like I didn't even talk to you at this birthday party, and I didn't even talk to everyone at home, and I didn't even have the deep-fried ice cream made by my brother. It's a bit of a birthday, there's no taste at all. Sakaki smiled and said, you are really demanding. Look at the grand scene Grandpa has arranged for you. I wonder how many powerful people have sent you birthday wishes. I don't care about those things. Let's do it this way. My uncle and mother seem to be resting at home tomorrow. How about we organize a birthday party for you? A birthday party with a family reunion feels like it, right? I'll help you cook whatever you want to eat. This is good. Brother is the best. Okay, don't put your face on my neck. At this moment, Tian Haimadayan and his mother came over. Realizing that it was his uncle and his mother, Sakakihara wanted to get out of the way quickly, but his uncle waved his hand, indicating that he could just stand. Amamai made Nori looked at the people sitting on the sofa and said, "I came here just to discuss something with you. There is one more person in the house." Sakakihara Suzu suddenly felt uneasy and asked cautiously, "One more person? Male or female, who is it?" Amamai Shigenori looked at Sakakibara Raku specifically, his eyes were meaningful, but he couldn't tell the specific meaning. "My sister. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple." Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 227. Chinjui 600 yen. Facing the expressionless convenience store cashier, Sakakibara, who was wearing a black school uniform jacket and red tie, reached out to his pants and took out a 1,000 yen note. He accidentally discovered another 100 yen coin. He handed it to the cashier as well. The cashier lady was obviously stunned when she saw the 1,100 yen. She did not take it, but raised her head and said to Sakakibara, "Guest, 1,000 yen is enough. What you bought only cost 600 yen. Then just give me 500 yen. What's the meaning?" Sakakibara patiently explained, "Look, the product is worth 600, and I'll give you 1,100. Do you just need a 500 yen coin from me?" The clerk was confused. "Guest, your purchase only costs 600 yen. Okay, Sakakibara gave up. He took back his 100 yen coins, and then walked out of the convenience store with 4 100 yen coins that the clerk found. "Welcome next time." Standing at the door of the convenience store, Raku Sakakihara glanced at the afternoon sun, then picked up the plastic bag and glanced at the female sanitary napkins inside. "You're on your period at the beginning of the month. How can you be so embarrassed to let me buy this thing?" Sakakihara sighed and waited until the motorcycle on the road crossed the road. He carried the plastic bag and walked along the street towards the school club classroom. After crossing the playground, I glanced at the baseball club members who were still training, and then arrived at the literature club classroom on the 4th floor. Sakakihara Raku yawned and opened the door. The layout of the classrooms in the Department of Literature is still the same. On the left are rows of bookshelves, and on the right is an activity area. A rectangular table was placed in the middle of the activity area, and behind it was an overturned blackboard covered with white chalk marks. In addition to an opened box of colored chalks under the blackboard, there are many cardboard boxes piled nearby. It is full of various journals from the school. Tianhaichi Minjiao, who wears gold-rimmed glasses, is sitting on the left side of the table, holding a book in her slender hands. The long flaxen hair hangs down behind, and together with the sky outside the window, it highlights the lines of her serious face. Extremely beautiful. If this profile was seen by those boys in school, wouldn't they be conquered on the spot? Sakakihara was thinking about these things for no reason, and glanced at the book in her hand, which seemed to be some finance-related textbook. He closed the door and walked over. "Here, your sanitary napkin." "Thank you Nanamai." Nanamai didn't look at Raku Sakakibara who was sitting across the table from him, nor did he pick up the things on the table. "Why can't I buy this myself? It's so embarrassing for me to face the cashier. I feel sick to my stomach." All right. How about we drop by and take out the trash? Rubbish. Sakakihara lowered his head and looked under the table. Tianhaikaimingyu's thin legs in black stockings and round-toed leather shoes appeared in view. Next to her legs was a trash can full of potato chip bags. It was all her food. Sakakihara Raku was almost speechless. "Wait, why didn't you say anything just now? I didn't finish the potato chips just now. I still eat potato chips when I feel sick to my stomach. Eating potato chips has nothing to do with periods. Am I your nanny?" "You are my boyfriend," Tianhaikaimingu said expressionlessly, her face full of beauty in a serious state. Sakaki Hararaku really didn't know what was wrong. After she said the sentence, she really became motivated. Okay, Miss July 2nd, I am your boyfriend. So we can help you buy sanitary napkins and take out the garbage for you. Is there any reward for kissing? Sakaki Haro looked at her thin lips. I know how to kiss you every day. Just call my sister over and I will kiss you casually. Didn't you say last time that the old man liked me? Are you looking forward to the reward? I prefer giving back or remuneration to the word reward, so what is my reward? Come to my room tonight. That's not possible. The last time I went to your room, I was almost discovered by Julie Yulai. Okay, I'll go to your room. The matter seemed to have been decided by Tian Haikiming Yu. Also, go take out the trash first. No problem. 5 minutes later, Sakaki Hararakusuru returned to the literature club. I also washed my hands in the middle. Washing hands in this cold weather can really freeze one's bones. Sakakibara breathed white mist into his hands, rubbed them vigorously to warm them, and then took out the Chinese textbook from his shoulder bag, preparing to finish today's homework in advance. The time lasted for more than 10 minutes in a peaceful atmosphere. The results of the last monthly test are out. Huh? It hasn't been announced yet. Inside information. How about it? Did I overwhelm you this time? Sakaki Hara smiled. Tian Haikimingyu showed her signature look, reluctantly raising her eyes to look at him. I really don't know where you got the confidence to surpass me. This time you are still 2 points behind. Third place. Second. My sister and I share the same share. Sakaki Hararaku was not discouraged, and said while looking at the homework questions, the gap is narrowing, isn't it? The gap was only 5 points last time. As long as we keep up, I will conquer you both sooner or later. Conquer. It's conquest. Tian Haikimingyu's eyes were only calm, without any waves. I didn't see the source of your confidence. Then Chi Minjiao, do you think you are beautiful? Without a doubt. That's it, there is no reason to be confident. This is actually wrong, because Ren Chi Minjiao is very beautiful to begin with. Tian Haikimingyu was no longer too lazy to correct him. Kyo, do you still remember what I said to you before? What? Don't be so cold. Can you be a little naughty? Tian Haikimingyu thought for a while. First of all, I haven't allowed you to call me Kyo. Secondly, I am also trying, but this kind of thing cannot be changed overnight. Okay then. Speaking of which, how about it? Are you interested in forming a band with me? Why are you always thinking about your band these days? Tian Haikimingyu withdrew her gaze and continued reading. It's fun, isn't it? Set a new goal and become inspirational and popular all over the country. Compared with Sakaki Bararaku's enthusiasm, Amami Nanamajetsu remained calm. 3 minutes of heat. Compared to this, I think it is more reasonable for you to run. Hasn't the person you ran with recently been inviting you to join track and field society? Going to the track and field club is not as comfortable as staying with Yuchi Minjiao. Glib. Xiaoqiu blushed, but Sakaki Hara saw through it without saying anything. He suddenly changed the topic. Should our literature department do some homework? Every time I come here, you are either doing homework or reading homework. There is no sense of community atmosphere. Am I the minister or you are the minister? Tian Haikimingyu closed the book and spoke calmly. Although it is light, it gives people an inexplicable deterrent effect of the calm before the storm. Is this the authority of a minister? Sakakibara quickly raised his hands and said, this is just my reasonable suggestion as a club member. You see, Kobayashi Senpai hasn't been here recently, which shows that there is something wrong with your literature club policy. First of all, Sister Xylin is just a librarian and doesn't come to the club very often. Secondly, you have said this no less than 3 times. Recently, you have either asked me to start a band with you or you have asked me to establish a new chapter for the club. What do you want to do as a goal? I want to bring you and Julie Yuli together to enhance their relationship. Of course this cannot be said directly. But Chi Minjio can't deny that even Xiaolin Senpai has lost her love for the literature club because of your policies, right? Tian Hai Kaimingyu was silent for a moment. What do you want to do? No need to discuss the band. Sakakibara doesn't expect to have a band either. As long as he can bring them together, anything will do. Sakakibara thought about everything, but found that there was really nothing that could connect them together. Wait, running seems to work. Julie Yuli likes it. Chi Minjio also needs to exercise with this. How about running? Let's complete certain targets together every day. I reject. Chi Minjio is not good at sports. No, to put it mildly, he is simply a poor sportsman. The kind that makes you gasp after taking 2 steps. She doesn't like running at all. Sakakibara put down the pen in his hand and looked like he was thinking seriously. Speaking of which, Kurayuri has been running with me recently and always ends up dragging me to buy snacks or something like oden, takoyaki, or okonomiyaki. Alas, it's really embarrassing for me. Every time she wants me to feed her, what does she say? She wants you to feed her. Yes. So you really fed her. The situation forced her to drag me to a coffee bookstore or something. Julie Yuli said that she likes to sit and read and study quietly together. If I need someone to study with me, she can do it. As Sakakibara spoke, he glanced at Nanamayu's expression. After taking a glance, he realized something was wrong and quickly took it back. Tian Hai Kaimingyu took a deep breath, calmed down and said, "Starting from tomorrow, I have to watch you run. It's done." Sakakibara suddenly stood up and said impassionedly, "Well, I announce that the latest topic of the literature club is running." In the entire classroom, only Tian Hai Kaimingyu looked at him silently. Raku Sakakibara was a little embarrassed. Okay, although this goal has nothing to do with the literature club. I guess Kobayashi Senpai wouldn't like to use running as a new goal. Don't disturb me reading now. By the way, is Higsu coming to our house today? Then I have to prepare a good meal for you today. After school. In the evening, Sakakihara Raku was counting the ingredients he had just bought from the supermarket. There was a big bag of stuff, and Julie Yuli helped carry a lot of it. The snow is coming, so this dinner must be more lively. The kind of dinner where you have to get together to eat, and you have to make some heat and make noise. Of course it has to be sukiyaki. Originally, he wanted to prepare hot pot, but thinking that Yuki might not like it, and Nanamajetsu not liking overly exciting food, Raku Sakakibara chose sukiyaki. This thing is similar to hot pot, the difference is that there is less water. It's more like fried than cooked. The beef was fried until oil came out and made a sizzling sound. Sakakihara Suzu did not go to work this afternoon and was watching her brother handle the ingredients outside the kitchen. It's just that there is an extra girl in the family. Are you so happy? She folded her hands and lay on the counter, watching Sakakibara neatly cut flowers into the mushrooms. Sakakihara raised his eyes and said, "Your mouth is pouting to the sky." I know, but Sakakihara Suzu held the words in her mouth for a long time, but in the end she didn't know what she should say. She had to change her sentence and say, "Mom and Uncle Tianhai won't be back today. Ailing, the smell of someone's vinegar is in my condiments." Snort. Higsu is coming. Julie Yuli and Chi Minjio haven't said anything yet. They are different from me. Moreover, you have been accompanying Julie Yuli for a long time recently. You are either running with her in the morning or in the afternoon. Sakakihara Raku felt that Suzu's arrogance seemed to be reduced a lot. It's becoming less and less. Aling. What? Are you a brother controller? I'm not, replied weakly. This answer. It seemed that she didn't care much about Aling recently, so she gave her a gift on her birthday, and she seemed very happy. When she got home on the night of her birthday, she opened the remaining gift and found that it was a scarf knitted by Raku Sakakibara for her. She even came over to say thank you in the middle of the night. Normally she would never thank herself. Ailing, have you not been so busy recently? Yeah, she responded, poking the cabbage in the bowl with her hand, I've finished dubbing the heroine. Except for some follow-up small theaters that still require me to go, I haven't taken on any work recently. Aren't you a little popular because of this anime? Why don't you strike while the iron is hot? I don't have much energy, Sakakihara Suzu sighed. It's over, the stinky Aling has become less stinky. She has become a salted fish, Aling, who looks like she has no love no matter what. Sakakibara thought for a moment, coughed twice on purpose, and reminded himself of the sister. Ahem, Aling, let's do this. Anyway, you haven't been very busy with work lately. How about you come and go for a run with me? Ah. Running with you and the senior who is accompanying you at noon. Of course it's not noon, it's morning and afternoon. Juliuli will accompany you in the morning and afternoon. You don't need me to accompany you anyway. After the run, I'll take you to eat takoyaki, oden, tempura, croquettes, okonomiyaki, yakitori, dorayaki, burgers, fried chicken, and fries. Sakakihara Suzu burst out laughing, if you eat so much, what's the point of running? Seeing Isuzu smile, Sakakibara felt that the atmosphere had relaxed a lot. Running is not for losing weight. Running to eat more is also one of the meanings of running. Wrong truth. Don't you like to eat? That's true, but why are you asking me to run? It's not what you said. You want me to spend more time with you. TCH, who cares about you accompanying me? Seeing her disgusted look, Sakakihara laughed, isn't that someone a brother controller? You are the brother control. Okay, I'm going to watch TV. Is there fried ice cream today? I don't have ice cream, but I have fried chicken legs. Fried chicken legs are also good. Where's the meat skewers? Well, just call me Uni-chan and I'll make it for you. You want it to be soft and sweet. For some reason, Suzu Sakakihara thought of the black stuffed rabbit he gave her as a gift, and immediately blushed, I'm not going to scream. Perverted girl. Omit it. Sakakibara looked at Sakakibara Suzu and made a face, watching her escape to the sofa in the living room. Sure enough, compared to the salted fish ailing, the tsundere ailing is cuter. Sakakihara shook his head with a smile and continued to process the ingredients. Not long after, the doorbell at the entrance suddenly rang. Sakakihara Raku subconsciously sensed that this was Yuki coming. He quickly wiped his hands and walked to the entrance to open the door. Young master. Tianhai's Higsu stood at the door, wearing a brown skirt, white stockings, a sweater vest and a long-sleeved white shirt on her upper body. The shirt was slightly longer, covering half of her palms, and the inward movement of her hands made her fingers look small and soft. Uncle Ying was holding a brown suitcase and standing behind the girl. The old housekeeper was the first to say hello to him. The girl stood there quietly, her slender legs together, with the blue sky reflected behind her. She saw Sakakibara Raku, and Sakakibara Raku also saw her. The two of them just looked at each other. Happy. She shouted softly like a cat, lacking any emotion or tone, it was so pure that it was just a cry. Happy? This sincere look even made Sakakibara not sure how to answer. It was as if she was committing her whole life to herself. We've only known each other for less than a week, okay. Why are you calling me that? Friend. Well, it seems that Higsu still remembers that he talked to her and has not forgotten it. Yangbokin took the words and handed the luggage with a smile, young master, this is Mrs. Higsu's luggage. Sakakihara picked up the handle of the luggage and said, I'm sorry, Uncle Sakura. Young master, you are very polite. This is what you should do. The master asked me to convey a message to you. Mrs. Higsu will be looking after you from now on. Mrs. Higsu grew up at home, and she usually had servants to take care of her, so there are some common sense things in life that Mrs. Higsu may not understand yet. Sakakihara agreed, I understand. Mrs. Higsu has already delivered it, young master, I won't disturb you anymore. How about Uncle Ying stay and have a meal before going back? Uncle Ying declined politely, no, there are still things large and small that need to be taken care of at home, and the snow in the backyard should also be shoveled. Oh well. Well, if the young master has any needs or has anything to say to the master, I can convey it to you. Okay. Farewell. Sakura said goodbye politely, and Sakakihara watched him disappear around the corner of the corridor. Next. Sakakibara's eyes returned to the quiet and calm beautiful face of the girl in front of him. Every time he sees Amami no Snow, Sakakibara Raku will think of how she looked barefoot before. She was a little dazed, but also gave people a very pure and ethereal look. Happy. This time Sakakihara Raku realized that he was stunned. He regained his composure, touched the handle of the brown suitcase with one hand and said, Anyway, welcome to your arrival, Mrs. Higsu. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 228. Zilla Zilla. The aroma of heat and beef cooked with spices lingered in the living room, and a lively variety show was playing on the 100-inch TV. At the dining table, Raku Sakakihara was busy handing out his special dipping sauce to the people sitting around. This is Aling's. This is Julie Yuli's. This is from Chi Minjiu. This is Higsu's. Compared with the others who received the small dipping dishes as a matter of course, Tianhai's Higsu held the thing in her hand and tilted her head, slightly confused. Raku Sakakihara immediately explained, this is used to dip the fragrant dish when eating sukiyaki. Put the fried beef in it and dip it to make it taste better. In fact, it is a hot pot oil dish, Sakakibara's modified version based on the taste that several sisters like. Will it be delicious? Sakakibara also specifically asked Sakura Haku no Yuki about her favorite flavors. Although it was of no use, because Uncle Ying replied, young lady can eat anything. Sakakihara Raku had no choice but to preemptively instill the concept of delicious into Yuki through words. As long as the first impression is delicious, then as long as the subsequent taste is not bad, it is delicious. Seeing that Amami Nazuki didn't move his chopsticks for a long time, as if hesitating, Sakakibara took a piece of beef that Suzu valued very much to her. You'll find out if you try it. This made Suzu Sakakihara's eyes widen, my beef. Stinky Lele. Haha, don't worry, don't worry. Sakakibara saw Suzu glaring at him. He smiled and reassured you that he would bake you 2 more slices later as an apology. Asuzu then gave up. Do you want to eat this? Amami no Yuki looked like she wanted to give something to Sakakibara's Suzu, and met her sincere eyes. Sakakibara's Suzu, who was just complaining, instantly lost all other meaning. She said angrily that she was just angry with Sakakibara Raku. Fine. All right. Tianhai Kaimingyu quietly ate fried cabbage, and added, brother will be more partial to newcomers, sister Chan, don't let others know about it. Sakakihara Suzu's eyes widened again, it sounds like you've been here for a long time. This is not partiality, Sakakibara shook his head, this is the care that should be taken. If I were not more enthusiastic, I would appear to be inhumane. Tianhai Julie Yulai thought for a while and said, speaking of which, my brother also cooked a large table of dishes for us on the first day when Chi Minjiu and I moved here. He always asked us what dishes we liked and what flavors we liked. Tian Haikaimingu just stared at the cabbage in the bowl and said indifferently, he is so enthusiastic that it is easy for people to think that his purpose is impure. Sakakibara solemnly declared, what impure purpose? You don't know what kind of embarrassment I had to overcome before I took the initiative to talk to you two. At first, I thought you were just strangers, okay? Tian Haijuli Yulai asked and turned around, then the way for brother to overcome embarrassment is to show enthusiasm. Sakakibara put down his chopsticks and looked up, looking at the white mist illuminated by the chandelier. That's not entirely true. I initially thought about whether you would dislike me or something. After all, I am a member of the opposite sex, and Suzu has disliked me before. Give me some time. Why are you making trouble with me again? This is a fact. For a long time, I thought that I was quite disliked by others. Haven't I ever apologized to you? Sakakibara Suzu's voice was flat. Sakakibara stretched out his hand to rub Aling's lowered head and smiled, I know, so I don't blame you now, I just mentioned it. Oh, Sakakibara Suzu was not happy and looked downcast. Okay, I'll give you these 2 pieces of meat to eat. It's my fault, I shouldn't have said this. I didn't say it was your fault. Tian Haikaimingu looked at the way Aling lowered her head and understood that her sister Zhang was feeling guilty about what happened before. Tian Haijuli Yulai naturally understood this. However, her focus was on Sakakibara Raku. His completely relaxed smile now, indicating that Suzu could relax, was the most rare and valuable treasure. Not everyone can let go of the person who dislikes them after being disliked. I believe Suzu-chan has always been grateful to her brother. Amamai Kuruori can quite understand Sakakibara Suzu's mood and feels the same. How does it taste? Sakakibara asked. It's delicious. Tianhai's Higsu ate silently. I'll just say it. It tastes like nothing I've ever tasted before. Sakakibara could see that she liked it, as long as it's delicious. Did Ellie do it? I did it. You eat too. No, you don't have to pick up food for me. You eat too. Haha, no. Brother, why do you seem to get along so well with Higsu? Suzu Sakakibara watched the interaction between the two. Tian Haikaimingu pretended not to see him and explained, they had been chatting for a long time at Tianhai's house before. What are you talking about? Food. Brother must be bragging about what he made again. Dinner ended smoothly. In fact, Sakakibara Suzu and Amamai Nizuki got along very well. After knowing that she had nothing to do, he pulled her to watch animation on the sofa, and the animation she watched was the one with Suzu's voice. Sakakibara Raku and Amamai Kuruori were handling the dishes together. Amamai Nanamai seemed to want to learn something, so she rushed into her bedroom and closed the door tightly. While washing the dishes, Sakakibara Raku chatted with Amamai Kuruori. How well have you met Higsu? I haven't met my aunt too many times because I rarely go back to Tianhai's house. Well, what kind of character do you think Higsu is? Pure white. Tianhai Julie Yulai replied. I say that because she will believe whatever my aunt says. Aunt Zi, who was still in college, lied to her that she had to show her belly when greeting her, and then she showed her belly to say hello in front of Grandpa and his guests. At that time, the old man probably wanted to die. This is really a blank sheet of paper. My little aunt is not stupid, but she simply believes in Aunt Zi. That aunt is really mean-spirited. Time comes in the evening, time for rest. Raku Sakakibara used the sheets that his mother had bought in advance to make the bed in Amamai Nizuki's bedroom. Because this was originally a utility room, the space is still a bit small even after cleaning and renovation. Amamai no Yuki has been standing behind to watch Sakakibara Raku going about his business. Happy. Sakakibara pulled away the sheets and turned back to look at the motionless girl. Tasty. Sakakibara calmed down and realized that she was complimenting him on the dinner he cooked. As long as you like it, he smiled at the girl's delicate face. Ling always eats food like this. Yes, I have been making it for her since she was a child. It's just that the ingredients were not so high-end a long time ago. Now these ingredients, especially beef, cost thousands of yen. Is it the same for Xiaoqi and Xiaoju? That's been the case recently. The food Le makes is delicious. Sakakibara smiled even more, thank you for the compliment. In fact, I am better at making snacks. There is no chance today. Suzu has been wanting to eat fried ice cream recently. Do you want to try it? Fried ice cream. Ling should have told you this. Said. Sakakihara turned around and continued to hold the quilt for her, then I will do more next time, and you can try it too. Okay, the quilt is spread, you can fall asleep from now on. Raku Sakakihara glanced at the brown quilt. The place must be much simpler than where you live, but Uncle Sakura said that it will be over in the next 2 days. All the things you asked for will be moved here one after another. By then it will feel like your old home, so just make do with it and go to sleep today. Thank you, Ellie. Are you too polite? Didn't you say I'm a friend? Amami Nazuki stood there, quietly, and saw Sakakibara Raku smile towards her again. Sakakihara thought of something again and immediately said, do you want to take a bath? I can go and put the hot water for you now. Tianhai's Hixia shook her head silently, I went out and took a shower. That's right, it's weird to take 2 baths in this cold day. Does Hixia need anything else? If not, I'll be ready to go to bed. Afraid of the cold? Then let me turn on the air conditioner for you until tomorrow morning. After finishing the last thing, Sakakibara didn't think about going back to his room until Amami Yuki shook his head to confirm that there was nothing he needed. Very good girl. This is Sakakibara Raku's impression of Amami no Yuki today. It's already the 2nd day since Tianhai's Hixia came home. The next day was Saturday, and since Hixia had never been to elementary school or junior high school, there were admission procedures that required special processing, so she stayed at home today. Her daily necessities and daily clothes were all moved here one by Uncle Ying today. To be honest, there was a bit too much stuff. In addition to girls' supplies, as well as a series of valuable clothing, dolls, decorative ornaments, a guitar, and a pair of equipment that seemed to be used for tuning. The room that was originally a utility room couldn't be filled, so Sakakihara gave her his room. Anyway, I usually just do push UPS in my room, so I don't need that much space. Empty is also a waste. When changing bedrooms, Tianhai's Hixia watched him move things and said slightly. Did I occupy Lee's room? Suzuno Sakakihara, who was standing aside, looked helpless as expected. He spread his hands and said, if I live in the utility room, he will have to give me his room, saying that I usually have to practice or use the computer. That's the thing about people, central air conditioning. At dinner in the evening, Amami no Yuki also saw the fried ice cream that Raku Sakakibara mentioned yesterday. Fried ice cream. This made the girl seem to have discovered a new world. Brother, you are quite wise. You're still on the road. Why do you talk like a gangster? Reviewing the dubbing, what about Tai Baa and Korra? Okay, I know you're great, why don't you call me Oni-chan? No. Why are you bringing this up again? After Raku Sakakibara finished eating and washing the dishes, he was about to go back to his new bedroom when he was stopped by Amami Yuki, whose head popped out from the crack of the door. Happy. What's going on with Hixia? It's bath time. Tianhai's Hixia looked at him. Do you want to take a shower? Do you know how to put hot water in? You'll get hot water when you step on it. I don't have a hot spring like yours at home. Forget it, come with me and I'll teach you how to use it. Sakakihara remembered what Uncle Sakura said about her lack of common sense in life, so he was going to take her to the bathroom. Just arrived in the living room. What are you going to do? Tian Hikimingyu raised her sky-blue eyes with gold-rimmed glasses. Sakakibara Suzu, who was watching TV with her legs folded, also looked over. She saw Amami Yuki standing behind Sakakibara Raku. Sakakibara pointed at the bathroom. Zyuki wants to take a bath, so I taught her how to put hot water in it. Before, she always used hot springs at Amami's house. Amami Nanami regained her sight, and Sakakihara Suzuya continued to watch her TV. Sakakibara took Amami Yuki to the bathroom. He pointed at a switch next to the bathtub and said, "The blue one is cold water, and the red one is hot water. If you want to use hot water to take a bath, just turn the valve to the red area. If you want to take a bath, put all the hot water into the bathtub." So complicated? This is not the right place to complain. Miss Snow. Anyway, do you remember? Reluctantly. Reluctantly. Do you remember it reluctantly or not? Forget it, let me do it for you. Sakakihara directly opened the hot water valve, and then turned on the water inlet switch of the bathtub. Look, it's that simple, isn't it? Okay then, put the hot water in and wash it. Then Amami Nazuki raised her head, like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered, and kept looking at Sakakibara Raku with her beautiful face. This was a sign of what she was waiting for. What's wrong? Sakakibara had a bad feeling. Help me take off my clothes. Why? Because you need to take off your clothes to take a shower. Of course I know this is a natural thing. My question is, why should I take it off? Sakakibara's head was full of black lines. Happiness is a friend. Why do you say that only I can help you take off your clothes? Can you take it off yourself? Tianhai's Higsu lowered her head silently and unzipped the side zipper of her skirt. The loose skirt fell to the ground without warning. I didn't tell you to take off your clothes now? Immediately afterwards, her slender feet wearing white stockings stepped out of her skirt and stepped on the bathroom tiles. Then she also wanted the layer of underwear under the skirt. Sakakihara Raku's eyes turned white and he surrendered decisively. Stop, stop, stop. What's wrong? Tianhai's Higsu tilted her head slightly, looking very confused. Mrs. Higsu, don't you know I'm still here? Happiness is a friend. My friends can't see this either. Friends can be trusted. Trust can't even look at it. Just naked. Please don't take this for granted. No, 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 Mrs. Higsu, please don't take off your clothes. It will be gone soon. I can't explain it. But I still have to take a shower. Sakakibara Raku originally wanted to stop Amami Nazuki's movements, but he didn't expect that she took off all her clothes in 3 attempts. He quickly turned his back, but suddenly he still caught a glimpse of it. She walked barefoot to the shower switch. It seems to be the switch. The commotion in the bathroom was heard by Tianhai Julie, who had returned from collecting clothes. What's wrong? She saw the scene in the bathroom, as well as Sakakihara Raku, who turned his back and looked embarrassed. Obviously, even the considerate Tianhai Julie couldn't understand why Tianhai's Higsu was naked and still holding the hot water shower head. Higsu, why did you take off your clothes? Bath. Then why take it off now? Originally, I was supposed to take it off while putting hot water on it. Originally. Ellie said to me, can I take it off by myself? If Raku Sakakibara hadn't known that Amami no Yuki's words were without any malice and were purely natural and practical, otherwise her character would have been classified as the kind of sinister person like Nanami Yuki. Legend. Sakakihara Raku noticed that his girlfriend turned her attention and slowly explained with a stiff smile. Fortunately, Tianhai Julie Yulai is the kind of person who is very good at listening to what others say. After understanding the situation, she didn't say anything else. Just leave it to me next. As she said this, she took the initiative to enter Tianhai's Higsyu's bathroom. Sakakibara breathed a sigh of relief and sat back on the sofa in the living room. Is it white? Tianhai Kaimingyu raised her eyes slightly. Exceptionally white, Sakakihara replied subconsciously. Where are the legs? Very thin and cute. Is it? Sakakihara Raku was the first to be defeated. My fault, I shouldn't have seen it. Why are you panicking? Tianhai Kaimingyu lowered her eyebrows again and said while reading, even if you see it, there will be no problem. Aren't you jealous? Can you still fall in love with me after just one look? In my eyes, you and my sister-in-law can only be friends. Tianhai Kaimingyu seemed indifferent to this, and did not ask any more questions during the remaining time. Sakakihara Raku was dragged by Suzu on the other side to watch animation, so he had no choice but to accompany her. After looking at it, line rang a message. It was sent by Chi Minjiu. Come to my room at night. What? Award. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 229. Late at night. Sakakibara Raku came to Amami Nanamayu's bedroom as expected. The bedroom has air conditioning and heating. She was sitting on the edge of the bed wearing her usual light blue shark pajamas, her sky blue eyes staring directly at the face of Sakakihara Raku, who had just pushed the door open. She had not yet taken off her gold-rimmed glasses, her twin ponytails hung behind her head, and she wore shark pajamas, which made Tianhai Kaimingyu, who originally seemed unusually cold to the outside world, a bit lazy. She seemed to be waiting for someone intentionally. Why are you looking at me like that? Sakakibara's expression became a little weird. When he didn't get a response, he shouted again, Nana Mingzuki. Come and sit down. Tianhai Chi Minjiu did not answer his question, but just patted the seat next to her. Raku Sakakibara glanced at Amami Nanami's expressionless face, and with the unknown strangeness in his heart, he sat next to her, 2 fists apart. Both of them were sitting by the bed. No one spoke. After a period of silence, Tianhai Kaimingyu was the first to speak. What are you doing so far away? Sakakihara Raku, who was looking at the floor, explained, you suddenly said reward without explaining what it was, and you called me over in the middle of the night and kept staring at me with the same look you just had. I felt a little bit subtle in my heart. That's right. Tianhai Kaimingyu withdrew her gaze, acquiescing to his explanation. Happy. Sakakihara was stunned. Why do you call me that? You will feel more comfortable when I call you this. Sakakihara Raku still felt strange. I'm afraid you wouldn't be willing to shout like that unless you heard Higsyu call me that. Tianhai Kaimingyu was not angry and patiently explained, I guess you have forgotten that I called you that more than 10 years ago. Indeed, she did shout that. The one who used to call me the most was my brother, and occasionally he would call me for fun. After all, she is a weird little loli. Sakakihara Raku found that the 7 moons in the sky tonight seemed different from usual. Her tone softened a lot. Before I reward you, I want to ask you, what do you think of me? What do you think of Kaimingyu? Quite a problem. If I expand on it in detail, I don't know how much I can say. Sakakihara put his hands on the bed behind him, smiled at the night view outside the window, and said, an unattainable fool. Why do you say that? Chi Minjiu, you are a real eldest lady. You live in a nice house and there are so many people around you since you were a child. You can still achieve outstanding results even if you read novels every day. And even now I know that you still control a large foundation, and control hundreds of millions of yen in the name of someone else's boss. Smart, beautiful, and capable, with temperament cultivated from childhood. Do you think you are an unattainable young lady? Raku Sakakihara said these slightly heavy compliments in a joking tone, with some self-deprecation hidden in them. And what about me? I'm just a little ordinary person. If I want to catch up with you, I have to study every day and persevere every day. Then I spend more than 10 years to gain social recognition. After graduation, I will most likely just step into your footsteps. In one of its affiliated companies, I work from dawn to dusk, and need to consider my colleagues' and my superiors' ideas in life. If I don't do well, I might even be squeezed out. And what about you, Chi Minjio? One sentence can wipe out all my hard work of more than 20 years. All the bosses I need to compliment will come to compliment you, Chi Minjio. Even if what you say is unreasonable, they can force it on you achieved. Tian Haikaimingyu's eyes met his side face. This is not like you a few days ago. Aren't you very confident? Sakakihara closed his eyes, stretched out a hand and said, being confident doesn't mean I don't have self-awareness. Before my mother remarried, I was basically a poor boy. Is this what you call unattainable? Of course it's more than that. This is just an explanation extended from your identity. The same is true for you as a human being. Zideo has told me more than once that you and Julie Yulai are the flowers of the high mountains that people like them can't touch. They are beautiful in appearance, have excellent grades, and have a good family background. Every time I see you in school, or when you are walking towards me, when you pass by, he will unconsciously avoid his sight in front of you, even if you have no intention of looking at him. Sakakibara turned his head and smiled at Nanami. Nanami, this is just out of reach. How will you explain it later? Idiot, a high mountain flower like Chi Minjio likes me. What is he other than a fool? Don't be so talkative. I'm not telling lies. Sakakibara sat upright and looked directly at the impeccable face of Amami. Nanami, if someone as beautiful and capable as you likes me, you are just a fool. Tian Haikaimingu looked at him for a while, but withdrew his gaze. I don't want you to think so low of yourself. Apart from Tian Hai's identity, I am just an ordinary person. Why do you have to pull yourself parallel to me? Tian Haikaimingu didn't even smile, and said calmly, I remember I said that I don't care about the identity of the Tian Hai family at all. If you want to leave, if you are under pressure, just tell me and I will follow you. If you want to leave, we can go to any corner of the world and start over. If you want money, if you want a home, just accumulate it bit by bit. Hearing her words, Sakakihara Raku seemed to have a vision in his mind of her abandoning everything in order to stay with him and work hard to make money for her family and livelihood. They met as children, grew up together, and experienced the bitterness of work together to comfort and encourage each other. Is it worth it? Whether it's worth it or not is not your decision, it's my own decision. Still so domineering. The 7 bright moons in the sky and the sea are silent. Sakakihara smiled suddenly, I suddenly feel like I want to elope with you. Then let's go. You know that's impossible now. Just because of my sister. There's a Ling, mom, and uncle too. Scumbag. At least he's not a scumbag. Tian Haikaimingu was not angry, because she at least understood that this guy had feelings for her, feelings of like and reluctance. What she hates now is that this guy actually still loves her sister, and she is very disgusted. July. Do what? Ahem, didn't you say there was a reward? The reward is to talk to me. That's not possible. Where can I find such a reward? I am the flower of the high mountains, unattainable, and a fool. Didn't you say this? So it is your honor to speak so many words to me, Tian Haikaimingu said in a neither salty nor cool tone. It really feels a bit condescending. Most girls can be said to be showing off like this, but Chi Minjio is not. This is her temperament and unique taste that she has cultivated for more than 10 years, due to her personality and background. She probably said this with some minor complaints in it. Xiao Qiu is good at everything, but is extremely stingy. Her words clearly didn't mean that she couldn't do it, but she still took it to heart. I'm probably not very happy now. It's different now. What's the difference? That was looking at you from a previous perspective, before we formally understood each other's feelings. What now? Although you are still the so-called flower of the high mountains, you are no longer unattainable to me. Tianhai Kaimingyu seemed to not want to listen to his forced explanation. She sighed helplessly and said, "Okay, the more you explain, the more confused you become. Do you understand why I am angry? I just hate that you exalt me too much and take it for granted. I'm that kind of person. What I want is not for you to continue with the promises you made before. You must spend the rest of your life repaying your previous debt to me. Xiao Qiu is too arrogant. Is it so difficult to say I just want to be with you? Okay, that's it. Come on up." Tianhai Chi Minjiao looked like she was waiting. Go to bed. Do what? Tianhai Chi Minjiao knew that he was deliberately teasing her. She glanced at him with a flat look and said, "Call my sister over. In front of her, I will do what you want to do with you." Sakakibara knew that Nanamai was joking. Forget it. Go to bed. Okay. Sakakibara took off his slippers and came to Nanamijia's bed. There was also her unique green apple scent on the bed. I don't know if it's a psychological effect, but he actually has the idea that a girl's bed is clean. Sit down first. Tianhai Kaimingyu suddenly got out of bed and came to the wardrobe. What? Nanamai turned around again and ordered Sakakibara Raku, who was looking over, turn away /. Can't you understand? I'll change clothes. You don't want to take off your clothes, do you? Tianhai Chi Minjiao watched silently. This meant that she was disgusted. Well, stripping is out of the question. Sakakibara turned his back and refused to watch Nanamijetsu change her clothes. He could actually hear the sound of changing clothes, and there was a hint of zipper movement. Then, Sakakibara Raku saw her changing into her school uniform and sitting back, wearing a Western-style jacket, a beige sweater with a light red bow tie, and her legs extending out from under the black pleated skirt were slender and white. Are you changing into your school uniform from your pajamas? Tianhai Kaimingyu didn't explain much. She just patted her thighs that were together and said, "Come and lie down." Raku Sakakibara understood immediately that the so-called reward was the knee pillow. Why do you go out of your way to change into school uniform? Then would you like to lie down in your pajamas? That's true. To be honest, compared to pajamas, the combination of pleated skirt and bare legs is countless times more eye-catching. They were placed together, white and pure, as if they were deliberately tempting people, showing off their smooth and graceful curves without any defense. In addition, the pleated skirt vaguely covers the thighs extending from the hips. Those lines are inexplicably more beautiful. Why are you so dazed? Are you shy? Tianhai Kaimingyu said expressionlessly, and patted her leg as if urging. Shy? How could I be shy? Chi Minjiao actually said she was shy. After all, he was a man who had kissed. Even so, Sakakibara Raku still showed a hint of embarrassment. You can tease Chi Minjiao verbally, but you really want him to do it in person. Hey. Do not care. Just lie down, what can you do? Sakakibara came to Nanamai and placed his head directly on her lap as if out of anger. His ears and head were the first to touch the softness of her legs, and then his face, which was more sensitive to the sensation, was also attached to her fragrant legs, and his face was in contact with the soft and white skin of her thighs. There is no material behind her, but she can truly feel the girl's body temperature that comes with the touch. Warmth and softness mixed with the indescribable pride of a man stimulated his head. Sakakibara felt inexplicably ashamed. How about it? What about it? How could Sakakihara Raku dare to raise his head at this time, so he couldn't see Nanami's face at all, and could only hear her plain questioning without any emotional ups and downs. Knee pillow. How should I answer you? Answer truthfully. Just, the meat on the legs is quite soft. That's it? No more thoughts? Sakakihara Raku felt sad in his heart. This and asked, how could he explain it? I am not a great writer, so what can I say about my skin is ice white and my clothes are fresh like clouds. He just felt soft, could feel her body temperature, and could smell her clearer fragrance. Do you feel comfortable? Sakakihara Raku was silent again, and then after a long time, two words popped out of the corner of his mouth. Comfortable. Are you shy? No. Then turn your head and look at me. In order to prove that he was indeed not shy as a man, Sakakihara turned his head and looked up. The suit jacket is open, and along the beige sweater, even through 2 layers of fabric, you can clearly see the slender curve of her waist that cannot be resisted no matter what. Further up, the line of sight is blocked. The knee pillow thing was already embarrassing enough, but I turned my head deliberately, and when I turned it, it would slightly rub against the skin on my thighs. Well, Sakakihara admitted that he was shy. But let me make it clear that he is ashamed. As expected. It's a shame. Is there a difference? This is my last bit of self-respect as a man. Then you should use your self-esteem to enjoy more. Do you like this feeling? Tian Hikaiminyu stretched out her hand to the head on her lap and stroked his hair with her warm little hand. This. Dislike. It would be a lie to say that I don't like her. Her body is already very soft, coupled with her comfortable body temperature and just the right touch, her calm voice penetrates into the cochlea, as if her heart is itching. I guess I like it. Sakakihara Raku could feel her palm touching his face, with a slight tickling sensation that made his heart beat faster. Not honest at all. Tian Hikaiminyu rubbed her head gently, as if coaxing a child, stroking her gently. Moreover, her thighs seemed to still have the residual warmth of the hot water she had just bathed in. This vague residual warmth, along with the fragrance of the girl's body, flowed into Sakakibara's nasal cavity, stimulating her heartbeat. He suddenly felt that this was not something Chi Minjia would do to him. You don't think of me as a child, do you? To me, everyone is a child. How do you say this? No matter how strong a person is, doesn't he always have a soft place in his heart? That is a harbor and a place where people can relax unconsciously. Sakakihara Raku was gently stroked on the head by the girl. The scent of a girl, the gentle touch. In her gentle movements and the contact of her soft thighs against her cheeks, her consciousness sank. This kind of scene can't help but make people close their eyes, relax their whole body, feel her movements, and feel the body temperature that makes the whole person feel like they are trapped in soft white clouds. Not long after, Sakakihara discovered to his surprise that the feeling of shame had magically disappeared. He suddenly wanted to hug her, to move his head closer to her belly, and then smell her sweet fragrance more deeply. 7 bright moons. Is this still you? Yes. Then why does it feel different? Because it's a reward. It must be hard for you to be sandwiched between me and my sister, right? Well, you understand. I've always understood it, but from my perspective I can't tolerate those things. I'm just saying this to let you put aside the pressure and just relax slowly at this time. Sakakihara smiled with his eyes closed. I thought you gave up on your own initiative. This is of course impossible. Tian Hikaiminyu thought to herself, but she didn't want to say these words now, because it would only add pressure to him. If it is said to be a reward, then naturally, Just enjoy it? As usual, how about I clean your ears? Where does this convention come from? Don't all knee pillows require ear cleaning? Don't tell me you don't know. I don't know as much as you do in July. Complaints are complaints, and Sakeki Hararaku, who has put down his shame, has no reason to refuse at all. Someone is willing to let him lie on his lap pillow and pick his ears, and he can't ask for it. Come closer to me. It's almost sticking to your belly. By the way, did you prepare ear spoons in advance? Sakeki Hararaku felt something strange in the cochlea. I'm not afraid. What are you afraid of? Be quiet, close your eyes, and don't move. Under the 3 consecutive urgings of Nanami Nanami, Sakaki Hararaku had no choice but to do it quietly. He closed his eyes and only felt the sound of her leaning down and using an ear pick to pick out his ears until they started to tingle. The blockage in the cochlea was cleared, and even if Sakeki Hararaku didn't look at her, he could somehow relate to the way she carefully cleaned his ears. Such a happy experience inevitably made him feel a little emotional. How come no one could do this to me in my previous life? She was willing to like her, she was willing to persevere, and she was willing to condone her behavior. To this day, she is still willing to let herself lie on her lap and help her pick out her ears. July. Yes, she replied with a faint nasal voice from above. I actually feel sorry for you. I know, she agreed flatly, while carefully pulling his ears and using the ear pick to probe, so I want you to spend the rest of your life repaying me. After hearing this, Sakeki Hara closed his eyes and smiled on her lap. There is no repayment. She just wants to be with her all the time. July. What are you doing again? July. July. You're so annoying. July. Just tell me if you have anything to say. July, I want to sleep. Go to sleep. It's right here with you. You are allowed for now. Sakakibara smiled, closed his eyes and buried his head in them. Full of green apple aroma. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 230. Can't sleep. At 5 o'clock in the morning, Raku Sakeki Hara stared at the ceiling above his head, holding his head in his hands, silent. He had just woken up not long ago, and his mind was filled with memories and images of last night, as well as the feeling of his face touching her thigh, which made him dream about Chi Minjio. I dreamed that I was still sleeping on her legs together, and she was stroking her cheeks and chin with her hands. The most important thing is that he actually slept on Chi Minjio's lap for 2 full hours. When I woke up, my whole face was buried in her legs, and I was almost drooling. In addition, when he woke up, Nanami's eyes were staring at him quietly from top to bottom, and his hand touching his face made Sakeki Hararaku feel so ashamed that he wanted to commit suicide. This caused his mind to be filled with July. This gave him the urge to pick up a pillow and smash his fist on it. And he did. After doing this, Sakeki Hara couldn't help but sigh to himself, why are you still acting like a child? He actually used a pillow to vent his anger. It wasn't that he was angry, but he wanted Chi Minjio's knee pillow from the bottom of his heart. While calling her name, listening to her gently agree to close her eyes, her body temperature was filled with happiness, satisfaction, and sweetness. Now I just want to run to her room, get under her quilt, hug her, and bury my head in her arms. But, not now. I also need to calm down. Patting the pillow back to its normal shape, Sakakibara lost all intention of continuing to sleep. He glanced at the clock at 5:12, put on a down jacket and walked out of the bedroom, preparing to wash his face with hot water first. Happy. Just as he closed the door, he turned his head and Tianhai's Higsu suddenly appeared in front of him. Sakakibara was startled. After confirming that he was a human being, he breathed a sigh of relief, pulled the cotton-padded jacket on his chest and said, "Zhigzhu, you don't make any sound when you walk." I got up to go to the bathroom. I didn't ask you this. Want to come together? No need. Sakaki Hararaku finally discovered that as long as he chatted with Zyuki, he would be speechless for the whole day. That's such a shame. Don't sigh. Besides, there's nothing to regret. Sakaki Hararaku is really clueless about this natural reaction. I wanted to say something about her, but once I saw the purity of her face and her clear and sincere eyes, I didn't want to say anything. Raku Sakakibara washed his face with hot water, and Amami Yuki also walked out of the bathroom. She looked at herself, and he looked at her. What's wrong? Tianhai's Higsyu's eyes never blinked. He didn't feel any discomfort when he was stared at by her. Instead, he felt that she had something to say. Sakakibara looked at her motionless for 7 seconds. Don't tell me you can't flush. Tianhai's Higsyu shook her head. Then why do you keep looking at me like this? You must be hungry, right? Tianhai's Higsyu nodded lightly. This eldest lady probably doesn't know how to find food on her own. No, she can still forage, but she can't make food to eat. Okay, I'll find something for you to eat, but it's only 5 o'clock and it's not breakfast time yet. Do you want to eat some snacks first to fill your stomach? Fried ice cream. We don't have that now. Alright. Sakaki Hara took her to the living room and opened the large refrigerator. Papaya, frozen bacon, last night's leftovers, cucumbers, eggs. There's no cake, wouldn't Aling stock up on some? There was no other way. Sakakibara could only take out a pack of Chi Minjiu's potato chips and hand them to her. Here, let's just eat this. Thanks. Sakaki Hara looked at her holding a bag of potato chips in both hands. She didn't know why, but she couldn't bear it. This thing shouldn't be enough to eat, right? Eating iced potato chips in the winter is indeed a bit miserable. While he was thinking about this, Tianhai's Higsyu had already opened the package and was putting potato chips into his mouth. By the way, Chi Minjiu won't be angry, right? Probably not, you know Higsyu is her aunt. Finished. So fast. Cool. It's potato chips in the refrigerator after all. Then, Amami no Yuki stared at Sakakibara Raku's face with her quiet eyes. Same as before. Just by looking at it, you can tell that it is a look begging for food. You're not full, are you? Sakakibara suddenly felt that the living room was much colder, and suddenly felt that it was really unreasonable to feed Zyuki a full meal of iced potato chips this early in the morning. There are still 2 hours until breakfast time. It is definitely inappropriate to make breakfast early. Sakaki Hara thought seriously, then suddenly remembered something, turned around, walked back to the bedroom, and pulled a box out from under the bed. There are several buckets of cup noodles inside. Have you ever eaten this? Sakaki Hararaku asked Amami Nazuki, who was standing at the door. No. I think so. Who would feed the eldest lady instant noodles? The next work is simple: boil water, open the instant noodles, and pour in hot water. Wait a few minutes and the cup noodles are done. During this period, Tianhai's Higsyu kept staring at cup noodles. Doesn't she think this thing is magical? This idea suddenly popped into Sakaki Hararaku's head. As soon as the lid of the cup noodles was opened, the rich heat rushed straight up. Amami no Yuki ate the cup noodles quietly, but she felt that she was eating it very energetically, which made Raku Sakakibara want to eat it. Son. But overall, she doesn't seem to dislike this kind of food. While waiting for her to eat cup noodles, Raku Sakakihara looked around her room. In the bedroom, apart from some girls' hairbands, accessories, and warm-colored winter clothes hanging on the wardrobe, the most eye-catching thing was the guitar standing beside her bed. If he read it correctly, it was an electric guitar. There is also a row of tuning equipment that he cannot name in front of the computer desk. Sakakibara turned around and asked Minazuki, who was eating cup noodles. Speaking of which, Uncle Ying has always told Zhigzu that you are busy with your own affairs at home. Is it related to the guitar? Rock and roll. It's rock and roll. Huh, Raku Sakakihara's mouth was so big that he could fit a pebble in it. Well, it's rock and roll. Tianhai Zhigzu ate the noodles and then spoke softly in a voice as subtle as the wind. Did I understand it wrong? No. Wait, if Sakakibara understands correctly, Yuki has been playing rock and roll at home for more than 10 years. Will the snow in the sky and sea rock? Raku Sakakihara couldn't imagine that guy with a coxcomb head and a punk style, holding a guitar and shaking his head and thinking about the snow in the sky. That kind of exaggerated tone, rock music that is so passionate that it can smash the guitar. How can she actually do this? Tianhai Zhigzu finished her cup noodles, came to the bedside, and picked up the electric guitar that had been plugged in for a long time. Want to listen? Etc. Before Sakakibara, Raku could stop him. She hung up the chords with her left hand, and swept out a series of deafening and rhythmic rock music with her right hand. The key is that this electric guitar is also connected to a speaker, and the harsh volume is ridiculously loud. Rock music also has a unique electronic aftertaste, which is very exciting to listen to. She really can. Sakakihara covered his ears with his hands, and his mouth was so surprised that he couldn't open his mouth from ear to ear. Although he was an amateur in this area, he could still tell that the sounds she scanned had several meanings. Seeing that Minazuki still wanted to continue playing, Sakakihara Raku quickly stopped. Stop, stop, stop. Tianhai Zhigzu put her hands on the electric guitar tilted in front of her, with an indifferent expression, and tilted her head slightly. Don't want to hear it? It's not that you don't want to hear it. But dash. Not long after, there were footsteps outside the door. Well, sure enough, someone was woken up. Zhigzu. Raku Sakakihara looked back following the voice and found Shijinori Amamai standing outside the door, followed by her mother in pajamas. What's wrong, Tianhai Mai? He asked with a confused look. Brother, sister Mai. Tianhai Zhigzu bowed her head to Tianhai Madayan and her mother as a greeting. Well, Amamai maid Nori responded. After glancing at the situation in the bedroom, he asked his youngest sister, what happened just now? Tianhai Zhigzu, holding an electric guitar, try the sound. Amamai maid Nori was a little surprised. It's not even 5:30, why are you thinking about playing guitar? You don't usually start practicing at 9 o'clock. Zhigzu can also play the guitar. Tianhai Mi. He looked at the outfit on Tianhai Zhigzu and asked in surprise. Amamai maid Nori explained, she has been practicing this for the past few years. She said it was a hobby. When the old man saw that she liked it, he followed it. After his uncle answered, he looked at Raku Sakakibara, who shouldn't be here. Xiao Li, why are you in Zhigzu's room? Sakakibara wondered if his uncle's eyes were peaceful at this time. He looked quite calm. It can only be said that he is worthy of being a lawyer. In such a situation where misunderstandings are easily caused, he still has the intention of asking the matter clearly before making a conclusion. Sakakihara chose to answer truthfully. I got up and washed my face. As soon as I went out, I happened to meet Zhigzu. She said she was hungry, but it wasn't breakfast time yet, so I made her a bucket of cup noodles. I came to her room, looked around, and asked. Her guitar, and that's it? Is your explanation quite clear? Sakakibara observed his uncle's expression and found that he indeed seemed to understand the situation. Amamai Madayan looked at his little sister again. Snow. This place is not like you are at Tianhai's house. If possible, try to lower your voice. Or you can just put on headphones. Tianhai's Higsu nodded. She has considerable trust in her brother, who is more than 20 years older than her. Are you getting used to coming here? The music is good. These words suddenly made the situation extremely delicate. Sakakibara noticed that his uncle looked at him again. Why is it still making people's spine crawl? Fortunately, this aunt didn't tell anyone about what happened in the shower last night. If the words nudity and enjoy to see were mentioned, he would have to explain for a long time. No, explanations are useless. He was afraid that his uncle was really going to kill him with a samurai sword. The old man also has several famous knives in his collection. Tianhaimadayan looked away and said to her, "That's right, Xiao Le is taking care of you for meals and so on. But don't bother Xiao Le too much. If you need help, you can also ask Chi Minjiao or Julie Yulai. You should have a good relationship with them." Tianhai's Higsu nodded slightly again, acknowledging her brother's words. "Well, we won't disturb you anymore. Your admission procedures should be completed today, and you can go to school tomorrow with Xiao, Xiaoling, Chi Minjiao and Julie Yulai." After Uncle Tianhai said these words, he didn't say anything else and walked back to the master bedroom. Mom secretly asked Sakakibara some questions. "Do you have a good relationship with this kid's Higsu?" Just a normal relationship. Tianhai Mai he obviously had other things to say to her son, but after thinking about it, she decided to take it back. "I won't say much else. I guess you are also because of Chi Minjiao and Julie Yulai. Why don't you tell mom secretly, which one do you like? Or do you like both?" How dare Sakaki Hararaku answer this? He chose to remain silent. Amamai Miwa saw this. She decided not to ask further questions. "You and Chi Minjiao Julie Yulai can't tell you clearly, but since Madayan has said that, how to decide is your own business. To put it in some selfish terms, two such excellent girls Chi Minjiao and Julie Yulai are actually everyone likes you, which means our son is still very good." When Sakaki Hara came, he couldn't tell whether his mother was happy or unhappy. "After all, they are also your adopted daughters." "Mom, are you ashamed to say this?" "Really?" Tianhaimei smiled. "Well, I won't ask any more questions. As for the child's Higsu, in addition to the tests your father gave you after graduation, this seems to be one of them, but it can't be said to be a test. The big deal is that he asked us to take good care of Higsu until she reaches adulthood and graduates from college." "Well, I know all this. The old man's purpose is very simple. He just doesn't want his little daughter to be too lonely in that big house alone. Although Uncle Ying and a group of servants take care of her, what she needs more is contact with peers. Mom and Uncle are so busy, no different from the old man, which is why they please themselves." After his mother and uncle returned to the bedroom, Raku Sakaki Haro looked at Amamai Nazuki, who was holding the guitar. "Do you want to listen?" she said simply. "No need. I'm just surprised that you know how to rock and roll, Zhigzu. I didn't mean to hear it. Isn't it hard to hear?" "I didn't say that." Tianhai's Higsu had no reaction. Although she didn't move much, Sakaki Hararaku could inexplicably see that she wanted to play it for him. Sakaki Hararaku could only regretfully tell her that rock music was temporarily banned at home. "What instruments do you play?" "Piano." "Same as Zyaju and Zyoki." "That's what you call Xiaoqi who taught me." The brief silence during the conversation allowed Sakakibara to see the light in her eyes again. "This look means a lot." "Happy." "How?" "I saw you coming out of Xiaoqi's room last night." Puff. Sakakibara almost spit out the hot water he just took into his mouth. He wiped the corners of his mouth. When? Going to the bathroom in the middle of the night. How could anyone go to the toilet twice in one night in winter? Sakakibara suppressed his complaints and calmed down. Are Le and Zioki in a relationship? Why do you think so? Xiaoqi told me. As for why Nanamajetsu told Tenkai Yuki about this, Sakakibara Raku could list a lot of reasons. The bottom line is that Chi Minjio actually told Shui about this matter, and it did no harm. The most important thing is that Julie Yulai heard about this relationship. There is nothing ahead, because Tianhai Julie Yulai will not believe Chi Minjio's one-sided words. But it's different now. Now Zhixu saw with her own eyes that she went in and out of Chi Minjio's room late at night. This is a solid relationship. Did Le and Zioki do it last night? How can it be? But Sakakibara quickly stopped him. Okay, Zioki, you misunderstood. I went there last night and didn't do anything at all. I just talked to Chi Minjio, just like talking to you. Although the situation when speaking is a bit ambiguous, it is not a lie, right? Amami Nazuki was very obedient. After she sensed that Sakakibara Raku didn't want to talk about this, she calmed down. What a good boy, one can't help but think so. Zhixu, can you promise me something? Just don't tell me about my relationship with Chi Minjio and my going in and out of her room at night. Just agree. Is there anything else you want to say? I still feel that Lahi Zioki. It really doesn't. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 231. Ha. Sakakihara Suzu yawned like never before, and then she hugged her arms tightly, her body trembling unconsciously due to the cold air. She half closed her eyes, which were still awake, and sat at the dining table in the living room. Different from usual Sundays, not only did she not have breakfast when she got up today, she didn't even wake up from bed. The damn smelly Lele came directly to her room to lift the quilt, saying she was going for a morning run. Don't you know how cold the cold air is in winter? This makes her listless now. Even when Tianhai Chi Minjio walked into the kitchen, she just watched in a daze. Why am I missing a pack of potato chips? Sakakihara Suzu raised her eyes listlessly. I don't know. Sister Chan, have you eaten? Have no idea. The time was not yet 6 o'clock, but Tianhai Kaimingyu didn't look energetic. She just walked from her bedroom to the living room in shark pajamas, that's all. Aren't you cold? Cold. Tianhai Chi Minjio picked up the hot water bottle. Aren't you sleepy? It's okay. Tianhai Chi Minjio filled half of the hot water bottle with water and plugged it in. You want to go for a morning jog too? Sakakibara Suzu flopped down on the table like a slug. I'm going to die, I'm going to die. It's so cold and snow is still falling, why are we going for a morning jog? He also asked you to run in the morning. Yeah. Just tell me that you need to exercise and you can't lie down on the sofa as soon as you get home. You're more verbose than my mother. Hearing that Raku Sakakibara actually invited his sister Chan to come for a morning run, Nanamai understood what he was planning. I want to get myself together with my sister Chan and my sister, and then repair the relationship. Tianhai Kaimingyu can completely understand his thoughts, but she will never obey. As long as my sister doesn't give up, she will always be her opponent. Why don't you speak? I'm thinking about something. Tianhai Kaimingyu came back to her senses, took 2 cups, and poured 2 cups of hot water. You really like my brother. Sakakihara Suzu held the cup with both hands, and the temperature of the hot water penetrated the cup wall. Why are you asking this? I just suddenly remembered something from when we were kids. It seems that your memory is much better than that of my brother. He must not be able to remember. He used to forget things easily. In fact, I don't remember much, but I think Chi Minjio has changed a lot compared to when you were a child. Tianhai Kaimingyu pulled up a stool and sat down next to her. Really, you haven't changed much. At this moment, another Tianhai Kaimingyu, Tianhai Julie Yulai, walked out of the corridor. She found Sakakihara Suzu and Nanamajetsu staying in the living room. She said nothing and walked directly to the bathroom. Has our relationship with Julie Yulai deteriorated? Tian Haikaimingu took a sip of hot water and said, after all, you said those words that day. Even if my sister can understand that you don't understand Grandpa's character, she will feel uncomfortable in her heart. What's so good about Stinky Lele? I like him no matter what. I think you know that in your own mind. Sakakihara Suzu vaguely remembered how he looked in front of her since she was a child. Always give yourself snacks, always make yourself unique toys, and always help yourself with homework in the middle of the night. And the most recent time he was gossiped about by his colleagues, he went out to buy the food he wanted to eat without saying anything. Sometimes people want to call him idiot. Before, there were always two people at home. The only person he can contact when he returns home is himself. But now, why are both of them coming to compete with me for my brother? Don't you have a brother yourself? Sakakihara Suzu suddenly became disgusted with Nanami Mingzuki, her ally. Tian Haikaimingu also noticed the change in her eyes. It's natural for you to hate me. Sakakihara Suzu muttered dissatisfiedly, it's as if you are my brother's girlfriend. Tian Haikaimingu did not answer, and took a small sip of water. I'm so conflicted, Chi Minjiao. Yet Tian Haikaimingu listened patiently to her continued words. I said before that I want to treat you as family, and I really mean it. But I still hate you so much, I hate you and Julie Yulai. Everyone is conflicted. Don't my sister and I have conflicts? Don't my sisters have conflicts with me? Well, you are twins. Tian Haikaimingu, the key to the problem lies in choices and trade-offs. My sister and I both chose to confront each other, so we cannot live in harmony. Then what should I think of you? This depends on how Sister Chan positions herself. Sakakihara Suzu thought for a long time. Maybe she had already made a decision in her mind, but she still couldn't make up her mind. Sure enough, you and Julie Yulai are both rivals. How? Because you two guys not only stole a certain guy's affection, but also stole your sister's identity, you now eat fried ice cream less frequently. Of course, Sakakibara Suzu would not say it herself in front of Tenkai Nanamajetsu. I won't tell you. You are my enemy anyway, but Julie Yulai is more of a threat now. Then what are you going to do, Sister Chan? I'll deal with Kuruori with you first, Sakakihara Suzu said reluctantly, with a look of disgust on her face. Tian Haikaimingu was not surprised by this result. But Sakakihara Suzu was still hesitant. Otherwise, let's forget it. Why did you change your mind again? It was my fault last time. Julie Yulai even gave me birthday gifts and clothes. She was not angry with me even though I treated her like that. Hesitating is not a good thing. Why do I think Chi Minjiao is the bad guy? You've been encouraging me. The word instigation is unpleasant. I'm just telling you the facts. All decisions are in your hands. The topic is over. After chatting for a long time, we didn't come up with any answers. Instead, we became even more sleepy. Suzu Sakakihara held her face up and couldn't help but look at the sky outside the balcony through the floor-to-ceiling window of the living room. It was early in the morning, and the sky was more like night. The clouds were thick and dark. Except for some buildings that were brightly lit all night, the only thing that could be seen was the flashing orange signal light of Tokyo Tower more than 10 kilometers away. Occasionally, you can still hear the clatter of trams passing over the overpass. Raku Sakakibara walked out of the bathroom at this time. He seemed to have just washed his face, with a little moisture on his forehead and hair, and a bright smile. Are you ready to go for a run? Seeing her brother's radiant look, Sakakihara Suzu's dead fish eyes with some dark circles became heavier, and even the corners of her mouth became deflated. Why do you guys get so energetic when it comes to running? Cheer up, Aling. Where is the excitement you promised me yesterday? Hi. Sakakibara Suzu weakly raised a fist, but after seeing Sakakibara Raku's smiling face again, she swayed from side to side like seaweed washed up on the shore by the waves, and said dejectedly, I haven't been in 6 in the past few years. Get up and get out of bed. Compared to Sakakibara Suzu's lackluster state of not waking up, Amami Nanamajetsu said very calmly. If you don't want to endure hardship, you can give up as soon as possible. Humph, you start to stir up dissension as soon as you open your mouth. There's no way you can make people give up right from the beginning. Sakakihara Suzu suddenly became energetic. Obviously it's my sister Chan who looks reluctant, I'm just telling you what's in your mind. If you don't want to, you can't say it openly. Did you tell him that you like my brother from the beginning? It's just not the right time. I think it's appropriate to remind my sister Chan about you now. The two insisted on their own opinions and faced each other tit for tat. Sakakihara Raku looked bitter, there was no way he would have had an argument so early in the morning. Wait a minute, didn't Aling help Chi Minjio before? Why are you still not dealing with Chi Minjio now? Don't make any noise, can't we all live together peacefully? She told me first, Sakakihara Suzu pointed at Kaimingyu. The 7 bright moons in the sky and sea don't even look at them, it doesn't matter at all. Maybe I couldn't understand Xiaoqiu's thoughts before, but Sakakihara Raku understands now. Xiaoqiu was probably just helping Aling cheer up, and deliberately used those words to provoke her. I have to say, it was very successful. Aling became angry. Faced with this situation, it is impossible to help or favor anyone. This is the experience that Sakakihara Raku has summed up over time in the battlefield. Why am I missing a pack of potato chips? Well, when I got up half an hour ago, I met Zhigzhu. She said she was hungry, so I gave her a bag to fill her stomach. Tian Haikimingyu looked at him questioningly, you use my potato chips to feed others. Chi Minjio shouldn't be angry, right? It won't happen next time. Tian Haikimingyu withdrew her gaze. Sakakibara Suzu looked on in confusion, why did it seem like you two were dating? Chi Minjio, aren't you still unable to compete with Julie Yulai? Okay, didn't you say you want to go out for a run? Go change clothes quickly. We will meet downstairs in 10 minutes. The two of them had no objections to this. 10 minutes later. In the community park below the apartment tower, 5 people in total stood, the Amami sisters, the Sakakibara brothers and sisters, and Amami Yuki. They are all beautiful girls in sportswear. Sakakihara Raku stood in front of the 4 people, coughed twice intentionally and said, Ahem, before the official start of the run, let me talk about the goal of today's morning run. Let's try to run to Binlai Gift Garden this morning. Hamari Gift Garden. Suzu Sakakihara looked towards Nanamajetsu in confusion and asked her with her eyes, how far is that place? 5 kilometers. 5 kilometers. Sakakihara Suzu's jaw dropped in shock. If she could run 1 kilometer at school, the teacher would have to go to the shrine to thank the gods the next day. Thank God that his student finally enlightened. 5 kilometers, impossible, absolutely impossible. Sakakihara Suzu-chan raised her hand immediately. I protest. Sakakibara saw it and smiled, I don't ask you to keep speeding up. You can just jog at a pace you think is comfortable. This will kill me. And I haven't had breakfast yet. I just ate some dry bread. Where does Suzu think today's breakfast is? Sakakihara Raku still smiled lightly. Sakakihara Suzu was startled at first, and then suddenly realized. You couldn't have left your breakfast at the finish line, right? Sakakibara's eyes drifted to the side, well, you guessed it right. This is 5 kilometers. Tian Haikimingyu reminded from the side, there is a round trip to running, 10 kilometers to be precise. Is it 10 kilometers? Sakakibara Suzu's face was ashen. She didn't expect that she would have to go out for a 10-kilometer morning run this morning because she had no breakfast. Abnormal, perverted, absolutely perverted. Zyuki, how come you were tricked into running by him? Sakakihara Suzu turned around and asked, looking for an ally. Le asked me to come out for a run. Don't listen to him. Raku Sakakihara interrupted the conversation between the two. Okay, I'll run with you the whole time. It's very easy. Nanamijiyo is not good at running either. You see, she didn't say anything. Under Raku Sakakibara's constant urging and deliberate provocation like a shepherd dog, the reluctant Suzu began to be willing to run. The first one to start the race was Tianhai Julie Yulai. She wore her hair in a high ponytail and ran lightly ahead. Seeing her sister starting to leave, Tianhai Kaimingyu also followed her. Then came Yuki and Sakakihara Suzu. When running, don't eat too much, otherwise your stomach will hurt. That's why I asked you all to eat something before going out. Raku Sakakibara, who seemed to be running extremely easily, patted his sister on the shoulder, encouraging and urging her to run. She had just passed an intersection and she was already out of breath from exhaustion. Of course, what was worse than Sakakibara Suzu was Amami Nanamijetsu behind her. Her running speed was no different from walking. Sakakibara Raku could clearly see that this cold young lady was trying her best to persevere. All he could do was to slowly run with her, and then say a few words of encouragement. The 5-person team was led by Julie Yulai, followed by Zyuki, followed by Isuzu, Nanamij, and Sakakibara Rakuten behind. Logically speaking, with Tianhai Julie Yulai's physical strength, he was able to surpass several people, but the team was not stretched too long. Sakakihara Raku can be seen from behind. He could also understand why Julie Yulai didn't run too fast. She was actually taking care of the physical fitness of several people and did not run to the front alone. Have you seen Chi Minjiao too? What did you see? Although Tianhai Kaimingyu was tired, she still tried her best to say these words. Kuruori is also worried about you. She knows that you run slowly, so she also slows down her speed, Sakakibara said while jogging, her hair swaying slightly with the range of his movements. What do you want to clarify? I'm thinking that she must still have you as a sister in her heart, even though you haven't spoken in private for more than a month, and even though you always exchange tit-for-tat cynicism every time you meet. So what? Sakakihara smiled at her and said, how about you guys try running side by side? Reject. Julie Yulai actually wants to run with you, and she must be very concerned about your physical fitness. She is not here to take care of you now, but is leading the race, just because she can't let go of her own face yet. It's just your one-sided words. Tianhai Kaimingyu's breath became weaker and weaker when she spoke. Running made her weak and she breathed violently. Sakakihara Raku was not surprised when he heard Nanamijiyo's answer. The days ahead are long. I'll talk to Julie Yulai later and ask her to take more care of Chi Minjiyo. As long as the two sisters communicate, the feelings between the sisters will come back sooner or later. Sakakibara looked ahead. Several people were jogging on the seaside street in front, facing the rising sun that appeared in the early morning. The road under their feet and the trees beside them were all shining brightly. Come on, he said loudly to everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 232. In early December, time enters the end of the year. It's been a week since Higsu moved into her new home. Today is also the day when Tianhai's Higsu officially enters school. Originally, he was supposed to start school last Monday, but Tianhai's Higsu was unwilling to go, saying that he wanted to stay at home and make songs. No one can persuade me. So her schooling time was pushed to now. To be honest, it's almost Christmas and the end of the semester. Judging from the study progress, there is no need to enroll in school. However, in the eyes of the old man, it is probably more important for Higsu to adapt to the new environment, so he still allows her to enroll in school so late. After the second English get out of class in the morning, Fujino Yoshiyuki excitedly asks Sakakibara Raku and Nishijima Oki to say something. The two of them sat around Sakakibara Raku, who was concentrating on his review, and exchanged information about the previous class in the class next door. Did you hear that a young lady transferred to class 3 in the middle of the class? Nishijima Oki was surprised, transferring to another school at this time. Not only Nishijima was surprised, but Sakakibara Raku was also surprised. The pen in his hand stopped. Fujino, how come you are so well informed? You should know that Higsu just entered school today. This is only the second class. He put down the gel pen and looked at Fujino's face. The other party seemed to have been staring at him. That's right, I transferred here during this period. Fujino Yoshiyuki smiled as if he had discovered something interesting. Strange, Nishijima Oki continued to ask strangely, although it is a bit outrageous to transfer school so close to the end of the semester, why do you keep staring at Sakakibara? Fujino Yoshiyuki said with a playful smile, because this guy must know something, the eldest lady's surname is Tianhai. Nishijima Ogai understood. Regarding the surname Tianhai, there is no need to go into details in this school. Chable, rich, unattainable. It makes people feel weak just to mention it. In today's school, who is most familiar with Tenkai is none other than Sakakibara Raku. The whole school knew that Tianhai Julie made lunch for him before. Sometimes students see him and Tianhai Julie going home and taking the tram together. Sakakibara understands what these two guys think about him, but he is more concerned about another issue. After the last birthday party at Tianhai's house, many people in the school should already know that he, Julie and Chi Minjiu are the successors. It's a brother-sister relationship. But why didn't it spread? Even Senior Kinja, who often ran with him, knew that he and Julie were step-siblings. This question flashed through Sakakibara's mind, and the topic returned to the newly admitted eldest lady. Hey, Sakakibara, why don't you tell me what the relationship between the new Miss Amamai and you is? What does this have to do with me? What Fujino said was very strange. Why did he confirm that he was related to Higsu instead of asking what the relationship was between Higsu and Julie? Given the relationship between you and Tianhai Julie, you should know it. Nishijima Oki also relied on his intuition to make a decision. In my opinion, even if it has nothing to do with you Sakakibara, you definitely know the relationship between this Tenkai and the other two Tenkai. Are you planning to pursue her? No, we still know how much we weigh. That's the Tianhai family. It's just curiosity. Raku Sakakibara, although I do know Miss Amamai Yuki, I only have a normal relationship with her. Fujino and Nishijima's expressions changed instantly, their faces full of distrust, and their eyes seemed to say, will we believe you? Sakakibara had no choice but to emphasize again, this is true, I don't lie. Tisk, Sakakibara, you know last time you and dash. Hey, Sakakibara, someone is looking for you. Accompanied by a reminder from a certain male classmate calling from the door, and the beautiful girl with long black hair standing behind the male classmate, Raku Sakakibara's words were self-defeating. Fujino and Nishijima followed the sound and looked over, and at a glance they saw the graceful Yuki Tenkai standing at the door. Just by the girl's appearance here, her exquisite and beautiful little face attracted many eyes. As soon as she stepped into the classroom, all the air was suddenly silent. The classmates who were still chatting also ended the conversation. Everyone discovered this girl's unique temperament. Amamayuki looked toward the back of the class and immediately saw Raku Sakakibara at the back table by the window. Happy. She directly called Sakakibara Raku's name. This made the boys in the classroom subconsciously open their mouths. The air also started to stir. By calling her by name, even a fool knew that the relationship between the two was unusual, which made the students speculate in their minds about the relationship between a certain guy and this girl. Nishijima and Fujino looked surprised. They turned back immediately, as if questioning Sakakibara Raku with their eyes. What have you done? Why are all the beautiful girls named Amamai coming to you? Sakakibara Raku didn't have the time to care about the gazes between the two of them. He just felt that he was about to be poked in thousands of holes by his classmates' eyes. Tianhai's Higsu called herself Le and really put herself on the fire. Sakakibara Raku sat where he was and looked at Amamai Nazuki at the door, and asked. Is there a problem? I want to go to the toilet. Dead silence. Mrs. Higsu's words directly caused the entire classroom to become as silent as death. Sakakibara noticed that everyone was looking at Higsu in unison, and soon looked over himself. It was obvious that the surprise in their eyes was even greater. Fujino and Nishijima have such big mouths that they don't know how to close them. Sakakibara held his forehead depressedly and shook it. He probably knew why Lee's Higsu came to him. She probably couldn't find a place to go to the toilet. Withstanding the pressure of his classmates' gaze, Sakakibara Raku said to Amamayuki at the door. Ji Shui, you can find Chi Minjia or Julie Yulai. If that doesn't work, a Ling can do it too. Aren't you friends? Zioki and Zyaju are not here, so Ling can't be found. What did they do? Have no idea. Well, it seems that Higsu can only find herself. Ellie, take me to the toilet quickly. You don't have to repeat it twice. If looks could kill, Raku Sakakibara felt that he could die 1,000 times. If eyes could judge a person, Raku Sakakibara would be labeled numerous perverts. No, it's over. He can already foresee how these guys will discuss and criticize him at the campus forum this afternoon. He said he trains girls and stuff like that. The truth is not what you think. Invariably, regardless of whether they were male or female, all the classmates looked at them with a look of believe it or not. Sakakibara laughed out loud, and had no choice but to walk towards Amamayuki, who was looking at him from the door, and sighed helplessly to the girl under the watchful eyes of all his classmates. Let's go. After leaving the classroom and closing the door, Sakakibara heard the uncontrollable uproar in the classroom. He couldn't help but sigh again. It's over now, and our external image is no longer safe. Are you uncomfortable? No, Sakakibara Raku really didn't want to look into her eyes without any impurities. Want to hear Hey Jude? What is that? Rock and roll. You really like rock and roll? Like. You want to play? I play this song when I'm alone. Let's talk about it when we have a chance. At the same time, Sakakibara Raku also brought her to the bathroom. This is it. Don't forget how to get there next time. I won't forget. Then I'll go back to the classroom after using the toilet. Class will start soon, I won't wait for you. Welcome home. It took Sakakibara Raku a long time to understand, and then he realized that she wanted to create a joke by using the antonym of waiting for you, waiting for you. Failed. There's no need to complain about yourself. Just say thank you at most. Watching Amamizuki enter the women's toilet, Sakakibara Raku returned to the classroom after using the toilet. The moment he opened the door and entered, the originally bustling classroom became quiet again, and everyone looked at him again. Watch what I do. Sakakibara smiled at the classmates in the class. Don't make wild guesses, it's not what you imagined. The students had disbelief written all over their faces. Sakakibara sat back in his seat in full view of everyone. Alas, hateful. What he told was completely true, but no one wanted to believe it. What's wrong with this world? Why is there no trust at all? Fujino and Nishijima, what do you think? I think you will definitely be able to poke 4 holes in your body in your lifetime. Fujino and Nishijima obviously wanted to ask Sakakibara what happened just now, but before he could explain, the school bell rang, so the matter could only be postponed. During class time, the atmosphere was a bit wrong because of what happened just now. This girl, no, this aunt really has no common sense at all. Come out naked when taking a shower at night. She nonchalantly stuffed her underwear into her hands and asked herself to wash it for her. He took her to buy snacks, but before she paid, she carried the things and walked outside, which made Sakaki Hararaku have to apologize to the clerk repeatedly to prove that she was not a thief. After asking carefully, I found out that she didn't know how to pay. Zhigsu, how did you spend the first half of your life? Music. Anything else? Rock. Anything else? Music, rock. Think of the above. Sakakibara Raku feels more and more that Minazuki's promise of never forgetting just now is becoming less and less reliable. Because Uncle Ying also specially emphasized the characteristic of Zhigsu's poor memory. Wait a moment. Didn't she bring paper with her when she went to the toilet? Raku Sakakibara knew that it was wrong to play with mobile phones in class, but the more he thought about it, the more he couldn't help it. He still went to confirm the problem and asked Minazuki via email. He didn't know how to use Line yet. The answer was, she brought paper. Well, I am indeed too paranoid. Ms. Yuki's memory is not that bad. Sakakibara breathed a sigh of relief. How to go back? What? I can't find the classroom. Sakakibara was happy to retract his previous comments. Miss Yuki's memory is just bad. Too bad. He tapped the screen of his phone quickly with his fingers and clicked to send the email. So you are still wandering around outside now? I went to the men's room and looked, but you were not in there. Why did you still go to the men's room? You told me I would go back to the classroom. Why didn't Najixia contact me just now? No email, just phone. Sakaki Hararaku didn't understand. You told me that you are not allowed to make phone calls during class. What a good boy. Sakaki Hararaku had no choice but to ask for help from several other people. However, Juliuli and Chi Minjiu are both good children, and their mobile phones are always turned off during class. Aling has work needs, so she won't turn off her phone, but she can't be contacted. With no other choice, Sakaki Hararaku could only raise his hand and ask the teacher to go to the toilet. 10 minutes later, he found Tianhai's Higsu under the tree in the school atrium. The back looks particularly ethereal. Sakaki Hararaku rushed to her. What are you doing? Look at the ants. Tianhai's Higsu kept staring at the gap between the tiles, and a uniform group of ants crawled above. It's quite childish. Come on, I'll take you back to the classroom. Le is indeed a friend. Tianhai's Higsu looked at him. Why do you say that? Tianhai's Higsu looked at Ant again. Only Uncle Ying and Dad will come to see me at home. Only Uncle Ying and Dad will come to see me. Listening to Minazuki's words without any fluctuation, Sakakibara Raku could somehow see the weight of these words in her eyes. He even saw the epitome of Chi Minjiu's childhood in Tianhai's Higsu. Why not Chi Minjiu? Except for Juliuli, who would care about where her sister was, no one would look for her on that rainy day. A little girl sprained her feet and was caught in the rain. She sat alone under the bus stop in the countryside with her head lowered. Tianhai's Higsu probably also had this mentality when he was lost. It's okay. As long as you tell us, Chi Minjiu, Juliuli and Aling will come to find you. Oh. Oh, what do you mean? Oh, I mean. Tianhai's Higsu is an eccentric young lady, and her classmates all say so about her. Tianhai classmate, Why did you transfer to our school? To adapt to a new life. There are 2 Tianhai ministers in our school. Your surname is Tianhai. Do you know each other? What is your relationship? We know them. I'll call them Zioki and Zyaju. Which school did you go to before? There is no school. Has Tianhai Sang decided to join any club? I'm quite familiar with the school. I can visit you. Although Tianhai's Higsu has an eccentric personality, it is inevitable that she will be popular because of her good looks. Sakaki Hararaku later found out that she had been invited into some weird clubs. A niche hobby group that studies urban legends. Yuki, why don't you refuse? Well, Tianhai's Higsu fell into a long downtime, they want me to go there. Then what? Filled out the application. What next? Did they do anything weird to you? Tianhai's Higsu shook her head. Do you just answer whatever someone asks you? It's about asking questions after all. What if I ask you Fatsee's color? White. Dot. You can't answer a question like this, Sakaki Hara emphasized. What kind is this? Tianhai's Higsu tilted her head slightly, confusion written on her face. This is a question about your identity as a girl, just like you can't show me naked bodies. Obviously nothing happened last time. Dot. No, in this case, Higsu simply cannot survive in this world. Either they were cheated or they were lost and couldn't find their home. Let's do this. You and I will go out for a walk after school in the afternoon, and I will take you to buy something. Fried ice cream. There is no fried ice cream for sale outside. The club couldn't go to the club today. Sakaki Hararaku specially told Nanama Yujurili about the situation, and took Amamai Yuki to the stationery store near the school. Before entering, Sakakibara specifically told the girl. You're not allowed to run around, you're not allowed to take things, you're not allowed to go out, do you understand? No. Scanning the dazzling array of furnishings in the stationery store, Amamai no Yuki saw Raku Sakakibara selecting, and saw her walking out with a leather manual with a guitar pattern. Does this look good? Like. Then this is it. After paying the bill at the cashier and buying an extra pen, the two left the store. Arriving at a bench in the park, Sakaki Hara opened the manual and wrote something on it with a gel pen. The snow in the sky and sea stood quietly beside her, and the winter snowflakes fell from her head. There were only a few people wearing scarves walking through the entire park. Amamai Nazuki looked at a hot dog stand for a long time and waited for a long time, but Sakakibara Raku was still writing something in the manual. Ellie, I'm hungry. When I finish writing, I will take you to buy some snacks, he replied. Are you doing your homework? Tianhai's Higsu looked at him. I'm writing the rules. Wait a minute. Okay, Raku Sakaki Hara covered the tip of the gel pen with the cap, opened the manual and held it in front of Amamai Nazuki. Tianhai's Higsu blinked and saw a few large characters that he pointed at with the end of his pen and wrote quite smoothly on the first page. Snow Life Attention Manual. There is also a signature of Sakaki Hararaku at the back. Recipe. Don't always think about eating. This is something for you, take it. Tianhai's Higsu stretched out her hands and took the small manual he handed over. Here are the things I have listed for you recently, such as you have to enter the bathroom and close the door before you can take off your clothes, you can't leave the bathroom without clothes, you can't let boys see anything covered by your clothes, where to live, remember to turn off the valve when drinking water, you have to pay before you can eat when you buy something, etc. So far, there are a total of 132 clauses. This is just what I can think of at the moment. I will add more later if I didn't expect it. What do you want this for? Tianhai's Higsu asked. Sakaki Hara closed the manual with one hand and explained, of course it's written for you. Don't you always have trouble remembering things? I'll write all the things you need to pay attention to in this small manual. You can take it with you. Now, when you have nothing to do, you have to take it out and take a look. Do you understand? Turn it out at any time and take a look, Tianhai's Higsu muttered. That's right. After all, it's a friend's request. Tianhai's Higsu seemed to be imitating some lines, but because she had no emotion, she imitated very dully. Why do you say it as if I am begging you? This is a requirement. Sakaki Hararaku suppressed the beating of the corners of his eyebrows. Yuki, please don't say something out of nowhere that makes people want to complain. I don't even know what to say. If you don't know what you want to say, just don't say it. Well. Sakakibara hit the girl directly on the head with a knife. Amami Yuki subconsciously closed her eyes and shrank her neck. Then, she opened her beautiful, shining eyes and saw Sakakibara letting out a sigh of relief in front of her. Am I teaching you or are you teaching me? Learning is mutual. Sakaki Hararaku is another hand sword. It's too much. Who is going too far? It's fun. How could I go too far? After you finish writing, you will take me to buy snacks. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 233. I would run in the morning, go to school, and after school. From time to time, I would stay with Julie Yulai and Chi Minjiu. In the evening, I would watch animations with Aling and listen to her bragging in front of me about the skills she had shown in recording this segment. Then, call it a day. In this daily life, there are some discordant sounds at home. That is, the death rock sound coming from Tianhai's Higsu's bedroom room. Not just heavy metal, but punk too. Those explosive sounds constantly irritated the eardrums, and even though the sound insulation effect of the entire apartment was excellent enough, Sakaki Hararaku was particularly worried that his family would not be complained by the neighbors next door. Then after school the next day, doorbell rang. I thought it was Aling who came home from work, or my mother and Uncle Tianhai came home early. When I opened the door, I didn't expect it to be a policeman wearing a vest and a black police hat. I'm sorry to bother you, but someone recently complained that you were making noise at night. We came here to ask you if it was true. The police were very accommodating, but the other party came here with the goal of solving the problem. Unless the problem is solved, people will not leave. Besides, making noise is unreasonable in the first place. Moreover, Tianhai Julie Yulai, who was busy writing arrangements for clubs and student unions, Tianhai Kaimingyu, who was busy studying and watching finance, and Aling, who was on TV, were all affected to some extent. For this reason, several people in the family decided to seriously talk to Tianhai's Higsu about this matter. Go and ask your aunt what's going on. There was no sound a few days ago. Miss Amami, who was standing at the door of her bedroom, spoke to Sakaki Hararaku. Why should I ask? Aren't you taking care of her life? Having said that, are you so relieved that you are not afraid that I will fall in love over time? I'm relieved. Because you're not that kind of person. Raku Sakakibara stared at Nanami Nanamijetsu's face, and Nanami Nanamijetsu stared back at him. Did Aunt Higsu's identity make you have any concerns? That's why you didn't talk to her about this. Higsu is also the kind of person who listens very well to what others say. Worried? I don't know why you think so. I'm just busy. What have you been doing recently? Sakakihara asked. Earn money and learn the organizational structure of the trading and investment organization management industries. The foundation needs to help the invested companies adjust their personnel. Although I don't have to do it myself, I have to understand the meaning of what they do. Okay, it's an aspect of knowledge that I don't understand. That's it. Xiaoqiu, who was wearing gold-rimmed glasses and had double ponytails, disappeared. After talking to Nanamijetsu, Sakakibara met Kururi Amami. Every time he saw the face that had just disappeared reappearing in front of him, Sakeki Hararaku would feel extremely magical. Compared with Kaimingyu's regular coldness, Amamai Kuruori is completely a girl in love. When she sees Sakaki Bararaku, she will give him a nice smile, then quietly come over and shake her little hand affectionately. This link doesn't have much meaning, it's just that as a girlfriend, she wants to get closer to Sakaki Bararaku. Every time she calls Lejun with a sense of dependence, she will want to spend a good time with her. Ahem, I almost forgot about the main thing. Didn't you just discuss that Zhigsu has been a bit noisy recently? There are some, but my aunt probably didn't mean it. It seems like this. It was obviously very quiet the past few days. Lejun wants to ask about the situation. Well, I have to go, the police are here. Then Lejun, go and ask. Although that is my aunt's only hobby, it is really not possible to continue like this. I will prepare the ingredients first. Tianhai Julie Yulai smiled. Okay, go and do your work, Sakeki Hara said, watching her walk to the living room. Julie Yulai has been helping herself with the ingredients since she was able to do housework. But compared to the past when she was close to everyone, Sakeki Hararaku feels like she can't talk to anyone but herself in this home now. He has a hostile relationship with Chi Minjiao, and an awkward relationship with Aling. Sure enough, the relationship between the several sisters needs to be resolved urgently. Arriving at Amamine Wayuki's room, the light inside was dimmer than Sakakibara expected. There was only an unknown music device and a laptop on the floor emitting light in the entire bedroom, and sitting in front of the computer was Tianhai's Higsu with bare thighs and pink feet. She was wearing baggy home clothes, and her pants were a pair of shorts that could be said to be the same as nothing. Raku Sakeki Hara glanced at her back with long straight black hair that was illuminated by the light from the screen at the door, then reached out and knocked on the bedroom door to signal her arrival. Snow, snow. But maybe it was because Kojiki was too focused that she didn't hear Sakakibara Raku's knock on the door. The knock on the door stopped, and there was only silence in the room. After seeing what she was tuning, Sakeki Hara picked up the electric guitar. Wait a moment. Just as Raku Sakeki Hara opened his mouth, a sudden burst of explosive heavy metal music suddenly interrupted what he was about to say. My brain was numbed by the tones of the electric guitar, as if my ability to think had been taken away. The ear-piercing volume made Sakeki Hara Raku feel like the hair on his head was being blown away. This made his brain go white for a long time. After coming to his senses, he quickly walked over to stop him. Tianhai's Higsu is holding an electric guitar and playing this heavy metal rock music with no expression on her face. The sense of violation is too serious. Snow, snow, snow. The rocking stopped, and Amamai no Snow discovered Sakakibara Raku. She raised her eyes, looked at the person above her and shouted. Happy. As pure and innocent as snow, it was hard for Sakeki Hara to imagine that music like that just now was actually played by this ethereal, soft-spoken girl. The expressionless rock girl. It's such a contrast. Ellie, what's wrong? She asked. You're too noisy. Tianhai's Higsu was stunned, and suddenly stood up holding the electric guitar. Seeing her bare white feet, Sakakibara was about to walk out of the bedroom, and quickly called her, Hey, wait a minute, where are you going? Go outside. What are you doing outside? Playing rock and roll. It's so cold outside. Sakeki Hara looked at Amamine Izuki holding the electric guitar in his hands and was surprised. You really like rock music? My headphones are broken. I have it, I can give it to you. Tianhai's Higsu shook her head, No, Lee's headphones won't work. Why? Inappropriate. Sakeki Hara realized that Yuki's headphones must be professional monitoring headphones. What use could his cheap ones have? Najixu, can you please be quiet for a while tonight? I will take you to buy it tomorrow. No way. Why is this? I'm going to submit my article today. Submit? Do you have an account on the internet? Tianhai's Higsu nodded lightly. What company have you signed with? What is that? That is to say, have you made any agreement with other people on the internet that you must submit articles within a certain time period? Tianhai's Higsu thought for a while, then shook her head. In this case, your submission should be a private submission. There should be no rigid time requirements for submissions based solely on interest. Or have you promised your fans how often you will update? The fans didn't say that. What did they say? Said nothing. Wait a minute, how long has it been since you started posting articles online? 5 years. 5 years is a long time, so you should be pretty good, Sakakibara said with a smile. How much attention do you have? 55. Sakakihara almost thought he heard wrongly, 55. How many submissions did you have? How many? 1491 Tianhai's Higsu said lightly. 1491. Why is it so outrageous? In 5 years, there were 1491 submissions and only 55 followers. Zayas Higsu, this is too miserable for you. What's your account number? Let me take a look. Don't want. Why? I'd be shy. Dot. Are you shy too? Sakakibara Raku asked twice. After Emma Miyuki said, after all, Raku is a friend, so I can take a special look, she still told Sakakibara Raku her account information. But I can't remember it. I wrote it down in the notebook. Oh, take it out and let me take a look. Tianhai's Higsu turned around, searched for a long time on the desk, and found the notebook she usually used for music. She flipped through it for a long time before she found the information she had recorded. Sakakihara looked up. Ixfna 9ZR0 New Jersey 1. Sakakibara, what is this? Tianhai's Higsu, account name. Sakakihara raised one eye. Are you sure it's not a password? It's such a mess. When registering, I was asked to enter whatever I wanted. And you just typed it in casually. Clap the keyboard. Rolling around the keyboard, Raku Sakakihara was confused. Tianhai's Higsu, it's not the face, it's the hands. I'm not an idiot. You're just a fool. Okay, which platform are you on? Tangtupo. Sakakihara was speechless. It's YouTube, not Yudapo. Also called Yudupo. You don't need to remind me, it's just a pronunciation. Raku Sakakihara took out his mobile phone, opened the YouTube app on his mobile phone, and searched for the blogger with the username Xfna9ZR0 New Jersey 1. The results came quickly. The avatar is blank, 1,491 contributions, and 57 followers. It actually increased by 2, which is really gratifying. I glanced at her contributions and clicked on 1 or 2 videos. Okay, Sakakihara Raku finally knows why no one watched it. In her videos, except for the style of a piece of music marked at the front, the names of all her videos are simply garbled. Not only that, the video she recorded had no picture at all, just a simple black picture and music. Meaningless account names, meaningless submission names, and messy video covers. There is no desire to click. This is the reason why I haven't accumulated any fans in 5 years. Coupled with the huge number of submissions, some people even questioned whether it was a robot or AI submitting submissions to the website in the comment area. For a moment, Sakakibara Raku didn't know whether he should pity Yuki or not. Ellie was the first person to know my secret parts. What you said is a bit too strange. Sakakibara put away her phone and looked again at the girl with delicate and beautiful features in front of her. She was holding a guitar and her eyes were not too colorful. Okay, I roughly understand the situation. Anyway, Shwe, you should be quieter. The police have come and said you are too noisy and disturbing the residents. Do you think I play poorly? Tianhai's Higsu looked at the electric guitar in his hand. A girl like Tianhai's Higsu makes people very protective. The way she looks now makes Sakakihara Raku seem to be bullying her. No. It's pretty bad. No really, I didn't listen carefully, but judging from the melodies you've produced in recent days, it's still pleasant to my ears after listening to it a lot, but it's a bit explosive. It's really bad, no one likes to hear it. No, I really didn't lie to you. Raku Sakakihara glanced at the electric guitar in her hand. Speaking of which, why does Yuki like rock music? Like? Just because you like it? The music is fun. There is no way to fundamentally explore why Yuki likes rock music. Sakakihara Raku just knows that she really likes it. Then why are you submitting, Yuki? Is it just a hobby of rock and roll, and then use the website to record your music? I just want fans. I really think too much about feelings. Sakakihara Raku discovered that as long as he talked to Zyuki, he would definitely be speechless by her words. If you want fans, there's no use insisting like this. Lie, as long as you persist, someone will definitely see it. Where did you learn chicken soup? Raku will not lie to his friends, Sakakihara Raku added. Hearing friend, Tianhai's Higsu looked at him obviously twice. I believe in music. Okay, Sakakibara made a condition to her, let's do this. You won't play so loudly these days. Can you continue after you buy headphones? In exchange, I will tell you how to increase your followers. Method. Alright. Amami no Yuki agreed, and Sakakibara Raku did relaunch Amami no Yuki's YouTube account in the next few days. First, help her open a new account. A garbled username like xfna9zr0 New Jersey 1 will definitely not work. After asking Amami Kuruori, Amami Nanamajetsu, and Sakakihara Suzu for their suggestions. Finally, Yuki, which is the Roman pronunciation of her name Yuki, was adopted as the ID of the new account. The avatar is the back view of Higsu holding the guitar and playing at home. Full of girly style. Then she would solo the music that Higsu thought she liked very much in the previous 1941 submission series, and then shoot a video and submit it for submission. Each video should be added with a tag, style, and music name. Since music was not suitable for me at home, I had to ask the music department to borrow a classroom. After a few days, I only started working on 2 or 3 songs again. Because it is not famous, there will only be a few sporadic plays in the beginning, which is to be expected. Tianhai's Higsu has been staring at the data in the background of her account for the past 2 days. Will it really increase the number of fans? Yes, please be patient. I believe in joy. Just believe it. Sakakihara Raku actually doesn't know whether this will work, but it will definitely be much better than Tenkai no Yuki before. After that, he should think of ways to help Yuki become more popular. One night, Suzu Sakakihara also bought the headphones Yuki wanted. She was an expert in this field, so Sakakihara asked her for help. Brother, why are you more interested in Yuki than me? In the past 2 days, she handed over the earphones with a dissatisfied tone. Raku Sakakihara is sitting in front of the computer desktop, and the browser interface is the backend of Amami Nazuki's new account. He took the headphones bought by his sister and said calmly. When I asked you to talk to Higsu, you were afraid of hurting your feelings, so you didn't go. Then naturally I had to go. In exchange, I would definitely help her. Aren't you here? After Higsu submitted for 5 years and only had 57 fans, do you want to offer your help? Ling and Ji Shui actually got along well with each other. Refers to delicious food. Aren't your 2 girlfriends jealous of you? His tone became more complaining. Sakakibara Suzu didn't know that Sakakihara Raku was in 2 different situations, and was just taking advantage of the fact that both of them like Sakakibara Raku. They didn't say anything. Alas, You know they also take care of Zhigzu. You are getting busier and busier. No, you have to run with me even if it snows tomorrow. Understand, understand. The time came early the next morning. As usual, Sakakibara gathered all the sisters for a run. As the leader this time, he took the lead and ran forward. The mist floating above the street followed the cool wind and ran along the street, running into the coastal road. There was no one here, and there were only a few people doing gymnastics in the park that he passed by occasionally. Elderly people and dog walkers. The middle-line tram speeds past on the elevated highway of the Steel City. In fact, except for Tianhai Julie Yulai, the other three people did not finish the first 10 kilometers of running. Tianhai's Higsu was attracted by the bread in the convenience store halfway. After shouting that she was too tired, Ling also ran to the convenience store. Although Tianhai Kaimingyu wanted to perform as well as her sister, the physical gap still held her back. And after many days of exercise, Sakakibara plans to take a few of them to run 10 kilometers today. 1, 2, 3, 4, come on. Come on. Come on. Wearing sportswear, Sakakibara Suzu looked exhausted. While following behind her brother, she secretly scolded him for being a bastard. Sakakibara Raku heard this and turned around with a smile. Come on, Suzu, didn't you promise me to run with you yesterday? Sakakibara Suzu was out of breath, her eyes were half-shaded, and she didn't even have the strength to scold the bastard brother. Come on, Sakakibara smiled, stood side by side with her, and continued to encourage. The two brothers and sisters ran together, and the newbies at the back, Zyuki and the physically weak Amami Nanamayu, had to be taken care of. Naturally, Sakakibara Raku entrusted this matter to Amami Kuruori. Yes, that's right. The purpose of forcing several people to run this time was to let Tianhai Julie Yulai take care of Tianhai Kaimingyu. He didn't know what to expect and didn't force himself to see it. Just give them the space to perform. Raku Sakakibara realized this more deeply and had the idea of accelerating. Ailing, he turned around and said. What? Sakakibara Suzu ran softly. Next, just follow Julie Yulai and I'll ask her to urge you to finish the 10-kilometer run today. Do I want to try to break my own record today? What? Before Sakakibara Suzu could react, his elder brother quickened his pace and quickly opened the distance between him and several people. Asshole, bastard. You promised to accompany me. Asterisk. Raku Sakakibara ran uphill, through crossroads with endless traffic, through the entrance of commercial streets, and through leisure spaces in residential areas. As I ran, the sky became brighter and brighter, and even the frost and dew on the bushes on the side were shining brightly in the sun. He ran all the way, reaching the flat bridge of Binri in Sea Garden at a speed of less than 2 minutes and 55 per kilometer. The courtyard is filled with white snow in winter. Less than 50 centimeters below the flat bridge is the morning pond. In the center of the courtyard pond is the tea drinking place called Nakashima no Okaya. Sakakibara Raku stood on the flat bridge and the green pond, looking back in the direction he just ran. With Ling and Chi Minjiu's physical abilities, running 5 kilometers at that speed would be difficult. I don't know how they will get along with each other. Sakakibara waited for nearly 40 minutes and finally saw the shadows of several people. As expected, Suzu Sakakibara was exhausted. After she ran to her destination, she sat down on the grass over there, regardless of her image, held her hands back, and breathed heavily with her whole face toward the sky. Sakakibara Raku took a cup of hot tea from Okaya and walked over, standing next to her and looking at her with a painful look on her face. I didn't expect you to persevere, Ailing. You Sakakibara Suzu gasped for a long time, and finally managed not to say a word. How dare you say that? You ran away halfway. You left us. Chi Minjiu was exhausted. Dizzy from exhaustion. Sakakibara looked in the direction in which Suzu was running, and realized that it was Juliuli who was carrying the unconscious Amami Kaiminyu behind his back, walking towards him with Amami Nazuki.